I'll never forget that night as long as I live. A woman knelt in front of me, crying, her trembling hands working to undo her own clothes. She was my sister-in-law, Chinyu, 26 years old, the woman who'd watched me grow up from the time I was a boy, who'd cared for me like I was her own little brother. But now, her eyes red-rimmed, her voice shaking, she said something that made my scalp crawl. "Shauna, please, just be with me." It hit me like a needle jabbed into my skin. I threw my hand out to push her away, but in my panic, my palm landed square on a place it had no business touching. For one split second, my mind went completely blank, my ears roaring. She melted right into me, her whole body pressing against my chest, her burning breath scorching my neck as she begged me through her sobs. "Sister-in-law has no way out anymore. Your brother Zhuzi went up the mountain to hunt, and that crazed wild boar tore his leg clean off. He's crippled. Our family of 4 is about to starve to death. If you won't pull the harness with me, the 3 of us, me and the kids, we've got nothing left." By then, her tears were falling onto my chest, one heavy drop after another. Let me stop and explain what pulling the harness means. It was a way of surviving during those brutal years, when a man got crippled and couldn't work, couldn't feed his family. He'd bring another able-bodied man into the household to live with them, share the wife, and help support everyone. In plain English, another man steps in and takes over the husband's role in bed. In our village, Kaoshantan, this kind of arrangement wasn't rare at all. But for me, I couldn't cross that line. Not in a million years. Because the crippled man lying in the back room was Zhao Xuanju, the man I owed a debt I could never repay, not even with my life. I lost my mother when I was 5, my father when I was 7. An orphan like me should have frozen or starved to death in the streets long ago. But Brother Xuanju's parents, my second uncle and second aunt, raised me up, one bowl of gruel at a time. In my heart, Brother Xuanju was no different from a blood brother. And now she wanted me to sleep with my own brother's wife? I couldn't do it. You could kill me, and I still wouldn't do it. And here's a secret I've got to let you in on. I don't actually belong to this era. I was reincarnated here from a much later time, an era when nobody worried about food or clothes. When I crossed over, I was still a baby at the breast. This world was nearly identical to the 1950s I remembered from the history books. Dirt poor, backwards, famine everywhere, empty bellies just a fact of life. So that night, I gritted my teeth, steeled my heart, and lifted my sister-in-law back up to her feet. Then I said the most manly thing I've ever said in my life. "Sister-in-law, I will not pull the harness. That's my line and I won't cross it. But your family's troubles? Those are mine now. Brother Xuanju's family saved my life. I owe them everything. Starting tomorrow, I'm going up that mountain to hunt, and I'll feed this whole family myself." And you know what? The moment those words left my mouth, something wild happened. A cold, mechanical voice suddenly rang out inside my head. "Congratulations, host. You have awakened the all-purpose hunting system. Beginner's gift pack unlocked. 1 head-high scent hound." I froze. This system sure knew how to pick its moment. Then it explained, from now on, every time I killed prey, it would score the kill out of 100 points. For every 10 points over the threshold, I'd earn 1 hunting point. The rarer the beast, the higher the score, the more points I'd get. Those points could be spent upgrading me, my strength, my speed, whatever, or upgrading my hunting dog. My first reaction? That's it. Every other guy who gets thrown into another world gets some world-ending, all-powerful system. Me? I get a dog and a scoreboard. But before I could argue with the system, the woman in my arms shifted again. She must have felt something from me. I mean, I was an 18-year-old kid, blood pumping full and hot, and my body was way more honest than my brain. Her face flushed crimson, and in a voice thin as a mosquito's whine, she said something that damn near broke me. I jolted like I'd been shocked, all that heat inside me doused in an instant. I shoved her away and bolted out of the room. Outside, the cool night wind hit me, and I finally got my head back. Leaning against the doorframe, I let out a long breath and swore an oath to myself. "Zhao Shanha, you handsome son of a gun, everyone from 10 villages around knows your name. One day you're going to marry a wife the proper, honorable way. You cannot, you will not, let people whisper behind your back about you being some kept man who pulled the harness." Sure, I was flat broke right now, but I had the system. With my hunting, I wasn't just going to eat meat every meal. I was going to build a big brick house and get rich. Once I did, was I really going to worry about finding a good girl? Once I thought it through, the fire in me died down. Before sister-in-law left, my whole flinching away routine cracked her up a little. She said, "It's pitch black out. What mountain are you planning to charge up in the middle of the night? You don't even have a proper weapon. What? You gonna fight bears with your fists? Come by first thing tomorrow morning and take your brother Juzy's rifle." As she walked away, she turned and gave me one last long look. There was hope in that gaze, and shyness, and a trace of something wounded I couldn't quite name. That whole night, I combed through everything the system had to offer. For the head-high scent hound, the system gave me two choices. Either it could conjure one out of thin air, or I could point to an existing regular dog, and it would upgrade that one. I didn't hesitate for a second. I picked the second option, suddenly producing a top-tier hunting dog nobody in the village had ever laid eyes on. That'd stick out like a sore thumb. I'd have no way to explain it. And if somebody snitched, I'd be in deep trouble. As it happened, Brother Xuanju had a big black dog named Xiao Tian. Only 4 years old, sharp as a tack, and practically half human. I'd been the one who named him, back when I was still hoping he'd grow up to be like the legendary sky-roaring hound from the old stories, roaring through the mountains in glory. System, pick him. Upgrade Xiao Tian into a head-high scent hound. Command confirmed. Hound Xiao Tian evolution complete. He has automatically recognized you as his master. Let me explain the difference between head-high and head-down scent hounds. A regular hunting dog puts its nose to the ground and follows the tracks of its prey. That's called head-down scenting. A head-high hound is a whole different beast. It holds its head up and pulls the scent straight out of the wind. Faster, sharper, deadlier. Dogs like that are almost always born, not made. Training one from scratch? Your odds are worse than finding a gold ingot lying on a mountain trail. The next morning, the second dawn started to break. I headed over to Brother Xuanju's place. The moment I stepped into the yard, my heart clenched up tight. Brother Xuanju's two kids, 7-year-old Zhao Ling and her 5-year-old brother Zhao Dang, a pair of little ones barely taller than the axe itself, were struggling together to swing a chipped hatchet down onto a piece of firewood. Kids that small should have been curled up in their parents' laps, whining to be spoiled. And here they were, doing this back-breaking work. I stepped forward to take the axe, but little Ling clutched it tight and wouldn't let go. She looked up at me, stubborn as a mule, and said, "Uncle Zhao, I'm not little anymore. I can help Mama now." Looking at those tiny hands gone white with effort, my nose stung. Sister-in-law came out from the kitchen, my brother Juzy's rifle already prepared for me, and told me to go in and see her husband. I pushed open the dim little door, and the thick smell of medicinal herbs slammed into my face. Brother Xuanju was lying on the bed, one pant leg hanging empty, one arm wrapped up in a sling. The barefoot doctor said even once that arm healed, it'd never be strong again. He'd wasted away till you could barely recognize him. Eyes sunken, cheekbones sharp. Nothing left of the tough man who'd once fed his whole family with his hunting skills. I called out, "Brother." That single word was enough to bring tears to this 6-foot-tall man's eyes. Ever since he lost his leg, he wouldn't see anyone, wore a scowl day and night. Now he gripped my arm and wept like a child. "Shanha, your brothers failed you. I don't want to ruin your future either. But look at me. I'm a useless cripple now. If you don't find your sister-in-law too shameful, take her. Give me a son to carry on the family name. That's all I want, brother. I just want the 3 of them to live." I gripped his ice-cold hand and looked him dead in the eye, spelling out each word. "Brother, don't ever say that again. If it hadn't been for second uncle and second aunt, I'd have frozen or starved to death years ago. I owe your family my life. I'm not going to pull the harness, but from this day on, you're all my family, and I'm the one taking care of this house." Brother Xuanju just cried harder after that, until he finally cried himself to sleep. I walked out of the room and hoisted the rifle onto my shoulder. It was a Type 38 Arasaka, an old piece second uncle had left behind for Brother Xuanju. Effective range of about 400 meters. Perfect for the beasts in these mountains. Next to it sat 2 packets of ammunition, 15 rounds apiece, gleaming brass. Sister-in-law had already polished the rifle till it shone. She led Xiao Tian out to me. I gave it a try. "Xiao Tian, come here. That black dog. usually wild as a demon, heard my voice and came streaking to my feet in a blur. He circled my legs, sniffing hard. And once he confirmed the scent burned into his brain, that of his master, his tail immediately started wagging like crazy. I called out more commands. Sit. Back. Stop. One after another, he executed them cleanly and smoothly, like water flowing. Sister-in-law stared, dumbfounded. She'd raised this dog for 4 years, a wild thing that only knew how to bite strangers. Since when had he been so obedient? All I could do was mumble something vague. Guess Xiao Tian, and I just click. Inside, though, I knew. The upgrade had worked. This dog was reborn. Just as I was heading out, she followed me all the way to the courtyard gate, twisting her apron in both hands, her voice thin as a mosquito's. Shanha, the mountain's not safe right now. Please be careful. I'll keep your food warm until you're back. The second the words left her mouth, her ears flushed red. I didn't hang around. I whistled for Xiao Tian and set off in long strides, deep into the Ileo Mountains. I've got to warn you up front. Ileo Mountain is nothing like some peaceful little woods where outsiders take strolls. It's a graveyard for veteran hunters, a place that's swallowed more men than anyone can count. Ancient trees blot out the sun year-round. Even the most seasoned trackers only dare skirt the edges. Because inside that primeval forest, along with the deadly snakes and killer beasts, there's an even worse danger lurking. The outlaws and desperate men hiding in the shadows. Once we were in the trees, I tore open a packet of rounds and thumbed 5 into the magazine, one at a time. Kachak. I pulled the bolt back and slid it home. The cold, heavy weight of that rifle pressed against my palm. That was the only thing that would let me stand my ground in this wild place. I only had one goal on this trip. Find that giant boar that crippled Brother Xuanju and settle the score. Around here, we called that kind of monster boar cannonball balls because they were massive, terrifyingly big. I crouched down and spoke to Xiao Tian. Xiao Tian, today's the day you show me what you're really made of. You still remember that big cannonball balls' scent, don't you? Go on, find him. Xiao Tian let out a low whine, raised his enormous head high, sniffed the wind, and then bolted into the thick brush. The stamina on this dog wasn't like any dog I'd ever seen. Insanely fast. After 20 minutes I was gasping, unable to keep up. Lucky for me, he was smart. Every time he outran me, he'd stop and wait, patient as could be. We wove through the forest like that for about half an hour, and then, up ahead, a fierce, savage barking burst out. My heart jumped. Found him. I checked the bolt and moved toward the sound, pushing aside a wall of shrubs. What I saw took my breath away. In the clearing ahead lay a mountain of black flesh. That was the cannonball balls, all right. I put him at 5, maybe 600 pounds. His body was crusted over with a armor of dried pine resin and mud. And in the face of Xiao Tian's furious barking, this forest tyrant didn't even bother lifting an eyelid. White steam blasted from his nostrils, and he made a low choo-choo grunt, trying to scare the dog off. Thankfully, upgraded Xiao Tian was smart as a whip now. He never charged head-on, kept his distance, always stayed in range to bail out. Then, once he saw me raise the rifle into position, his courage doubled. He bared his fangs and roared louder than ever. I brought the rifle up and locked onto the boar. The distance between us was under 100 meters. That old monster had lived long enough to grow cunning. Somehow he caught a whiff of gunpowder on the wind, and his thick forehooves began pawing at the earth furiously. He wanted to run, but he was afraid of turning his back on the dog. He wanted to charge, but he feared the black pipe in my hands. Then, in the next heartbeat, he made his move, charging straight at Xiao Tian. But Xiao Tian was quick as a shadow. He twisted midair and slipped past those tusks. By rights, once the boar missed, he should have had to circle around and build up speed again. But this old bastard was cleverer than any beast had a right to be. He used his own momentum to skid into a hard turn in the mud and came roaring straight at me. I clenched the rifle and stared him down. The ground was shaking under his weight. 80 meters. 50 meters. Bang. The rifle roared. The bullet drove into his back. But this thick-hided monster had unbelievable life in him. That shot didn't kill him. It only made him truly furious. In the split second I had left, my mind went blank. My right hand yanked and slammed the bolt. The spent casing pinged into the air, and the next round chambered home. This time, I aimed at his head. Bang! The colossus went down with the shot. The sheer momentum sent him tumbling several times before he finally rolled to a stop, dead. Where he came to rest, he was less than 15 meters from me. Congratulations, host. You have successfully killed one adult wild boar. Weight, 512 caddies. Score, 34. Reward, 3 hunting points. I stared at those bulging, brass bell eyes, still wide open, still filled with rage, and just stood there, dazed. In that fever pitch of a moment, my mind had held no fear, no hesitation, just bolt, chamber, aim, fire. One clean rhythm. But now, coming back to myself, a cold wave crawled up my spine straight to the crown of my head. If my hand had trembled, if the muzzle had lifted even half an inch, the thing lying gutted on this ground would have been me. My palms were slick with cold sweat. It took me a while to steady myself. Then I walked over to the boar. It was early autumn. Over 500 pounds of blood and meat wouldn't stay fresh long. If I didn't gut and bleed him fast, he'd start to reek within hours, and the smell of that much blood would bring plenty of trouble down on me. Fortunately, when I was a kid, I'd helped Brother Xuanju clean out plenty of boars. I knew the process. I drew my hunting knife, took a deep breath, and in less than 10 minutes, I had a steaming pile of organs pulled out of him. Us mountain folk have rules when we hunt. The choicest cuts, a slice of liver, a piece of heart, you cut off and toss to the dog that earned his keep. The rest of the innards, you hang them up in a tree as an offering to the mountain spirits, and to leave something for the other predators of the forest, a plain old lesson from the elders that says you don't take everything, you don't wipe out the game. I cut off a big chunk of warm liver and tossed it to Xiao Tian. He snatched it up in his jaws and trotted off behind a rock, where he settled in and started chowing down happily. But once I finished dressing the boar, I hit a real problem. An animal this big, never mind one man alone, even 2 grown men would have had trouble hauling him out of the mountain. I slapped my forehead in frustration. My very first trip alone into the mountains, and in my rush for revenge, I'd forgotten to bring a sled. If I went back for one now, it'd be dark by the time I returned, and the smell of blood would draw packs of wolves within the hour. Just as I was chewing on the problem, Xiao Tian's head snapped up. He stopped chewing, a low growl rumbling in his throat, and the fur along his spine stood straight up. There's only one thing a hunting dog means with that sound. Something dangerous is coming. I grabbed the rifle, worked the bolt to double-check, and swung the muzzle toward the direction Xiao Tian was warning me about. The forest was dead quiet. Then, after a moment, the sound of footsteps crunching dry leaves grew closer, and 2 men stepped out from between the trees. Holy hell, look at the size of that cannonball balls. Huh? Shanha, that you, kid? The second I recognized them, my whole body loosened. It was my 6th uncle, Zhao Jiangwo, and 4th grandpa, Zhao Junliang. In Kaoshantan, more than half the folks share the surname Zhao. These 2 weren't blood uncles, exactly, but we all traced back to the same ancestor, well within 5 generations, close relatives by village standards. Xiao Tian, though, went streaking forward, teeth bared, growling low, trying to defend me and the kill. I barked, Xiao Tian, get back, go finish your meat, and only then did he grudgingly slink back behind the rock. The 2 of them stared, jaws slack. 6th uncle pointed at Xiao Tian. Isn't that Xuanju's mad dog? Since when has that thing been obedient? I gave him the same line. Guess me and him just click. 4th grandpa Zhao Junliang didn't reply. He crouched down beside the boar, examined the fatal bullet hole, and asked in a low voice, Shanha, this boar you brought him down. 4th grandpa was no ordinary old man. He was 59 that year. Back in his day, he'd served in the army, fought in wars, and he was the most respected old hunter in all of Kaoshantan. Never married. No kids. I nodded. It was me, 4th grandpa. This cannonball balls. I'm pretty sure he's the same one that crippled Brother Xuanju. Xiao Tian led me right to him. I think he's turned into a head-high scent hound. 4th grandpa's head shot up. Those clouded but sharp old eyes went wide as saucers. The shock on his face was even bigger than when he'd first laid eyes on the boar. Xiao Tian turned into a head-high center. That's impossible. I hurried to change the subject. 4th grandpa, you 2 come out to hunt. Yeah. Bad luck, though, didn't bag a thing. 4th grandpa gave a small chuckle. 6th uncle stood beside us, clicking his tongue. Shanha, Boy, you got some brass ones. Coming out here all by yourself to take on a cannonball balls this big? 500 or 600 pounds of hog. Even your fourth grandpa here wouldn't try tangling with one solo. I gave a rueful grin and scratched my head. Sixth uncle, I just didn't know any better. My mind went blank and my hands worked the bolt on their own. Now that I think back on it, my spine's still cold. Sixth uncle burst out laughing, but fourth grandpa's eyes lit up. The more he looked at me, the more he liked what he saw. Shanha, this your first time firing at live game. I've fired the rifle before, but at something living. Yeah, this was my first. Good. Kid, you were born to be a soldier. Fourth grandpa slapped his thigh. He said taking a life wasn't easy, especially standing your ground and firing on a monster like that. That kind of nerve? It said something about the steel inside a man. My folks were long dead. I had no one to hold me back. Bold, straight shooting, cool under fire. In his eyes, the army was made for a man like me. Something jolted inside my chest. Hot blood rushed up to my head. In this era, being a soldier meant eating army rations, wearing an army uniform, a badge of pride like nothing else. At the very least, you'd never starve. You could stand tall, hold your head high. And if you could do great things for the country, that's a family honor everyone dreams of. What red-blooded young man wouldn't hunger for that? Fourth grandpa, I could really enlist. But before my hope had a chance to bloom on my face, sixth uncle dumped a bucket of cold water on it. Uncle, the army's rules ain't the same as when you served. Shanha's situation, he probably won't qualify. He's got no family left. He's the last of his line. Nowadays, the army's got a rule. Guys like him, no parents, all alone in the world, they don't let him enlist. You've got to get married first, leave someone to carry on the family name. The light in my eyes dimmed just like that. Fourth grandpa had retired years ago. Cooped up in the mountains all day, he had no idea the policies had changed. But sixth uncle thumped his own chest and said, I'm sure of it. Went into the county seat a few days back to drop off some goods. The notice was posted at the recruiting station, plain as day. Fourth grandpa let out a heavy sigh. Damn it. Such a shame. Such a good sapling wasted. I got over it pretty fast, actually. I smiled and tried to comfort him. It's all right, fourth grandpa. Sure, serving the country would have been an honor. But being a hunter, living out here in these mountains, that's no bad life either. One man's belly, no family to feed. Free as a bird. Fourth grandpa gave me a long, steady look. Bold but careful and open-hearted on top of that. The more he saw of me, the more the kid grew on him. All right, enough gabbing. He waved his hand, sliding right back into old hunter mode. Jangwo, Shanha, get moving, cut me 2 thick poles. Time to haul this cannonball balls out of here. Every minute we linger with all this blood, we're inviting every wolf in the mountain over for supper. His eyes caught on the offering I'd hung in the tree, the innards cleanly dressed and set out, and he gave a satisfied nod. I knew what he was thinking. This kid's got rules, and he knows what to respect. If he couldn't be a soldier, he'd damn well be a top-notch hunter. Under 10 minutes later, we had 2 hardwood poles thick as a man's wrist. We bound the boar's 4 hooves to them, 3 of us taking turns shouldering the weight, and pushed straight out of the forest. Xiao Tian home. Get up front and clear the way. Xiao Tian raised his head and let out a sharp bark, then streaked ahead, scanning the trees with sharp eyes. Fourth grandpa and sixth uncle both clicked their tongues under their breath. That dog. He's not a dog anymore. He's a spirit. By the time the 3 of us, huffing, groaning, drenched in sweat, hauled that monster back into Kaoshantan, the women at the village entrance who'd been stitching shoe soles and swapping gossip lost their minds. Sweet mother of heaven, that's the mountain god's own steed you've dragged back. Look at it. Look at that boar. It's got to be some kind of spirit beast. The crowd swarmed us. As soon as they saw fourth grandpa leading the way, some of them rushed up, faces beaming, laying on the flattery thick. I owe fourth grandpa, you've still got it. Ain't nobody in Kaoshantan a better shot than you. Save my family a couple of ounces to taste. Normally, fourth grandpa ate that up. He'd smile and dole out a bit of meat here and there. But this time, unbelievably, his old face went red, and he cleared his throat twice. Ahem. Cut the racket, all of you. This cannonball balls, I didn't shoot it. He paused. Then, into the sea of shocked faces, he clapped his hand down hard on my sweat-drenched shoulder. Shauna here. He shot this thing all by himself out in the mountains. Me and Jang Wo just lent a hand hauling it down. The moment those words hit the air, man, the whole village entrance went so quiet you could have heard a pin drop. Every last I went round as saucers, staring in disbelief at the half-grown kid whose baby fuzz hadn't even come in. That's how they saw me. One of the women stammered, her voice cracking. Wait, fourth grandpa, you're not pulling our leg, are you? A boar this big. You're saying Shauna took it down? Do I look like a man who needs to lie? Zhao Junliang's mouth twisted downward. There was some bite in his tone. That was fourth grandpa vouching for me. And with that one sentence, my name was made in this village, plain and simple. My name's Zhao Shanha. And that day, when I walked out of those mountains hauling a 5 or 600-pound wild boar on my back, half the village trailed after me like it was a parade. It was a bigger racket than New Year's market day. But I knew, deep down, fame invites trouble, just like a fat pig invites the butcher's knife. Now that my name was out, the trouble was coming with it. The first to swarm me were the aunties and old ladies of the village. The second fourth grandpa said what he said, those women's faces changed in a flash. See, fourth grandpa Zhao Junliang was a battle-scarred veteran who'd crawled out of hails of gunfire, and in Kaoshantan, his word was worth 10 of anyone else's. Once he vouched for something, nobody dared doubt it. In that instant, the way those women looked at me completely changed. Io, look at Shanha, a real man now. Shanha, you're what, 18 this year? You're plenty old. Time to find yourself a wife to warm your bed. A round-faced auntie moved quicker than anybody, elbowing her way to the front, all warm and glowing like I was her own son. Auntie's got a niece back at her mother's house, same age as you. Pretty as a peach, and hardworking too. Wanting to set you two up? How's that sound? Before I could get a word in, another old lady jumped in and cut her off. Get out of here. Your niece is as dark as the bottom of a soot-black pot. She's not fit for our Shanha. That was Auntie Sue talking, and her eyes were practically glowing as she stared at me. Not to be outdone, she grabbed my arm. Shanha, listen to Auntie. You know my daughter Shioli. She's just 3 years older than you. Right on her heels, another aunt, clearly on Auntie Sue's team, pushed in to sweeten the deal. You know how the old saying goes, a wife 3 years older's like a brick of gold. And Shioli, that girl's got wide hips. One look and you know she'll bear you plenty of sons. What do you say? I was stunned speechless. Can you picture what that scene looked like? A pack of aunties and old women, all talking over each other, packing me in so tight I couldn't move, spit flying everywhere. I damn near drowned in it. Truth is, in that era, being able to eat, being able to see meat on the table, that was the greatest skill a man could have. And what I did, the trait of a hunter, that was nothing just anyone could pick up. It didn't just take guts, it took real skill. Snatching food out of wild beasts' mouths and walking out of those mountains alive and whole. That was worth more than gold. So the moment I made a name for myself, I turned into the sweetest prize in every auntie's eye. Aunties, elders, I'm still young. I'm not looking to get married just yet. I laughed uncomfortably, backing up, unable to hold up under all that enthusiasm. Besides, I'm dead broke, poorer than a beggar's dog. How am I supposed to afford a wife? I can barely feed my own mouth. Once I've hunted a bit more and saved some money, we can talk about it then. All right. I left the door cracked open on purpose, didn't slam it shut. Why? Because I was clear as glass on this. I wasn't that lonely 21st century bachelor anymore. Since I'd woken up in this era, taking a wife and raising a family was practically a road no man could dodge. The country was in the middle of rebuilding, encouraging bigger families. Try being a lifelong bachelor now and see how fast the village gossip drowns you. And honestly, I was hoping too, hoping that with these hunting skills of mine, one day I'd have a warm, loving wife by my side, a lap full of children, grandchildren too. Then I could say this second life of mine was worth the trip. The moment I said all that, Auntie Sue, her full name was Sue Chui, got a sly gleam in her eye. She started clapping right there on the spot. Now Shanha here. This boy's honest and responsible. Just look at him. Auntie's making the call. I'll send Shioli over in a bit to tidy up your place. Look at that broken down shack of yours. Cold stove, empty pot. No woman looking after it. That's no way to live. Auntie Sue Chui, if you want the honest story of it, had lived a hard life. Her husband was killed at the front some years back. leaving her alone with 4 children. Money was tight to the point of pain. If the government didn't send a small monthly stipend for the widows and orphans of the fallen, they would have starved a long time ago. Now, technically her family and mine both had the surname Zhao, but we were so far removed by blood, 8 generations back before you got to a common ancestor. You couldn't really call us related at all. I was just working out how to turn her down politely when fourth grandpa exploded. Get out of here. You crazy old woman. What nonsense are you spouting? Zhao Juliang's eyes flashed, and his voice went sharp and hard. Xiuli's still a maiden. You mean to shove an unmarried girl into a bachelor's room alone? Word gets out, and what do you think it'll do to her name? Don't stir shit up for the boy. The way fourth grandpa was blowing up, I knew he was doing it for me. In this era, a girl's virtue was valued higher than her life. Whether or not I was interested was one thing, but if any dirty rumors started up, nobody would come out clean. And truth be told, I was a young man at the boiling point of my blood. Have a pretty girl underfoot every day. Who could swear nothing would happen? Su Chui got hit with the tongue lashing full force, but her face never lost its smile. Fourth grandpa, I was just trying to bring 2 nice kids together, is all. Don't get so worked up. I looked at her and sighed inside. What could you do? Her man was gone, for mouths at home waiting to be fed, and the whole weight was on her shoulders. Now that she'd spotted a promising young man who could bring home meat, how could her heart not stir? Fourth grandpa gave a cold snort, threw her a sideways look, and cut right to the bone. You think I can't see through those little schemes of yours? You want some meat? Just say it. Quit dancing around the fire. Fine, send that lazy kid of yours over later to fetch some. Her wrinkles bloomed into the widest smile you ever saw. That's great. Thank you, fourth grandpa. Thank you so much. I caught eyes with sixth uncle Zhao Jiangwo, and we finally saw our chance. We squeezed out of the crowd, hoisted the boar back up, and headed for home. But you think that was the end of it? Not a chance. Along the way, more and more onlookers joined the parade, until practically half the village was following us, a whole solemn procession like a funeral. Sweet Mother of Heaven. Shauna, this cannonball balls has got to weigh 500-600 pounds. I've never in my born days seen a hog this fat. Some of them stared at the swaying meat, throats bobbing with heavy, greedy swallows. I gave a small grin and answered casually, something like that. Right at that moment, a shrill voice cut through the crowd. Shanha, look at all this meat. You can't finish it all yourself. It'll go to waste sitting around. Why not share some with everyone? An older woman elbowed her way to the front of the crowd, greed written all over her face. The second she opened her mouth, it was like she'd kicked over a beehive. The crowd started buzzing. That's right, Shanha. You can't eat that much all by yourself. Share it out. Let us all share in your good fortune. I laughed on the inside, cold and hard. In these times, whose family got to see meat more than once every few weeks? I'd brought down a boar this size, and I lived alone with no family to answer to. In their minds, if they didn't jump on the chance to grab a piece, they'd have failed themselves. My face went dark on the spot. A cold smile tugged at the corner of my mouth. Fifth auntie. My eyes fixed on the ringleader like knives on a whetstone. This pig, I brought it back with my own life on the line. Zhao Shan is telling all of you right here and now, back when my mother and father died. Every one of you who lent me a hand, gave me a bowl of gruel, a bit of steamed bread, step forward. You'll walk away with at least 2 caddies of meat, guaranteed. Those words fell like a stone in the water. More than half the folks there instantly shrank back into their collars, and not a soul dared speak. Why? Because most of these people watching the show now, they hadn't so much as glanced at me back when my parents died and I was left an orphan. And this fifth auntie? She was the worst of the lot. Before my parents were even cold in the ground, she'd started eyeing our old family house, egging her husband on to come grab it. Lucky for me, fifth uncle was a decent enough man. He cursed her out on the spot, and the two of them came to blows over it. Fourth grandpa stood off to the side, arms folded across his chest, eyes full of approval. Later he told me, he'd honestly been worried I'd be too soft, unable to hold my ground. He hadn't expected me to handle it so clean, pay back those who did right by me, and give the freeloaders nothing but the door. You people didn't hear Shanha? Fourth grandpa stepped forward, and his tiger eyes swept the crowd. What are you all still staring at? Get the hell home. At his shout, more than half the crowd melted away. But there are always a few too dense to catch a hint. Besides fifth auntie, A handful of the village's shameless troublemakers stayed rooted to the spot. They figured they'd stick around and see if I might soften up and toss them something in the end. A slouching, middle-aged man stepped forward with a swagger. "Now, Shanha, your fifth Annie's talking sense. You can't finish this much meat by yourself. It'll all rot in the end. Give us fellas a share, and we'll remember you kindly." This one was Zhao Dabiao, nicknamed Lai Biao, freeloader Biao, the village's #1 deadbeat. Never worked a day, weeds in his fields grew higher than a man. His one great talent was sniffing out where the good food was, planting himself at your door, and sitting there till sundown if you didn't give him something. Sixth Uncle Zhao Jiangwo had a short fuse to begin with, and one look at Lai Biao angling in for a free lunch, and he blew. He slammed the pole down hard, thrust a finger at Lai Biao, and started cursing. "Lai Biao, you itching for a beating, you son of a bitch?" Lai Biao gave a cold smirk and, believe it or not, actually leaned his head closer to the pole. Come on, hit me. If you don't strip me down to my drawers before this is over, I'll call you my daddy." Sixth Uncle's hand was shaking on that pole, but as much as he wanted to swing it down on Lai Biao's head, he didn't dare. He had a whole family, young and old, depending on him. Killing a village punk and giving up his life for it? Not worth it, not by a long shot. The second Lai Biao saw that Sixth Uncle wouldn't swing, he got even bolder. He picked at his nose and blew a scornful puff of air right at him. "Not gonna? Then step aside, old man. What are you swaggering around for anyway?" Just as Sixth Uncle was gasping with fury, I reached over and snatched the pole out of his hands. Perfectly calm, I fixed my eyes on Lai Biao. There was even the ghost of a smile on my lips. "Lai Biao, it's just me left in my house. One man, one belly, no family to worry about. If I kill you today, worst thing is I go to prison. My life. I'm ready to bet it. Don't believe me? Let's find out." I took the pole and dragged it hard across the dirt, cutting a clean line in the ground. "Cross that line today, and I'll beat you dead right here. Don't believe me? Try it." I didn't get angry. I didn't shout. I just said it in the flattest, quietest tone, one word at a time. Lai Biao froze up completely. He looked at the line in the dirt. Then he looked up at my eyes. And in that moment I knew he didn't see rage in my eyes, didn't see excitement, didn't see anything hot at all. Just a bottomless, dead calm stillness. The kind of coldness that treated another man's life as no more than a weed. He got it. This kid meant it. He wasn't bluffing. He'd actually do it. Lai Biao stood there frozen for a long, long moment, and never once did his foot lift to cross that line. I stared him down without blinking, pole gripped tight, still as stone. In the end, it was him who broke. "Fine. Zhao Shanha, you've got a pair." His voice was loud but hollow. He was scrambling for any way out he could find. "Just you wait. I hope you never get a wife your whole damn life." That last line, that's what did it. That went right for the tender spot in me, because that wasn't a curse under his breath. That was an out-and-out curse on my name. I flung the pole away with a slap, whipped the rifle off my back and around in one smooth motion. Bolt, chamber, aim. Perfectly clean. I had it all figured in my head, cold and clear. Beat a man to death with a stick? Manslaughter at worst. A few years in jail, and you're out. The village chief would help hush it up, keep Kaoshantun's name clean. But shoot a man with a rifle? That was a whole different animal. The law wasn't fully written down yet in those days, but from 50 onward, there'd been a criminal code in draft. Deliberate murder, that was a life for a life. Even so, right then, I was really and truly considering it. "Shanha, put the gun down. Don't do it." Fourth Grandpa nearly jumped out of his skin. He lunged forward to wrestle the rifle away. He was a man who'd crawled off a battlefield. He could smell the killing intent on me, and he knew it was real. But my arm might as well have been made of iron. He pulled with everything he had and couldn't budge me an inch. Unable to get the gun down, Fourth Grandpa lost it. He threw himself in front of my muzzle and started cursing Lai Biao at full volume. "Lai Biao, you dumb son of a bitch. What the hell did you have to provoke him for? He's young and hot-blooded. What's he not capable of? You really are sick of living, aren't you?" The instant Lai Biao heard that bolt snap home, his legs turned to noodles beneath him. He gulped once, spun around, and tried to run. Bang! I sent a shot straight up into the sky. "Take one step, and I'll kill you." The gunshot slammed, everyone's ears ringing, and the sharp stink of gunpowder rolled out over the whole crowd. That single shot broke Lai Biao, and his little pack of hoodlums right down the middle. They dropped to their knees in the dirt, stunned. As for Fifth Auntie, her face went white as a sheet of paper, and she didn't dare breathe. Shanhai, I was wrong. I was just running my mouth back there. Don't take it to heart. I'll never do it again. I'm not even human. Just treat me like a fart and let me go. Lai Biao dropped to his knees with a thud. A dog's life beats a hero's death, especially for a bully like him who caved the second things got real. I knew his type all too well. You couldn't show him an ounce of mercy. Give him an inch today, and tomorrow he'd take a mile. Lai Biao, this is the first time and the last time. I stared him down. You mess with me again, you'd better watch your back when you go to sleep at night. Now get out. Just like that, the tables had turned. Now I was the one making the threats. Yes, yes, yes. I'll never do it again. I'm leaving right now. Lai Biao scrambled out on all fours. That sorry sight was the most satisfying thing I'd seen all day. After dealing with him, I turned to face the pack of loafers standing there. Before I could even open my mouth, they took off running out of my yard like their pants were on fire. Finally, I strolled over to Fifth Auntie, nice and slow. So, Fifth Auntie, how about I cut you a couple pounds of meat to take home? Just moments ago, she would have jumped up cheering and probably complained that 2 pounds wasn't enough. But now, those words sounded to her like the devil whispering in her ear. She scrambled up off the ground and forced a smile uglier than crying. No, no need, Shanha. Your fifth uncle's waiting at home for me to cook dinner. Come over for a meal sometime soon, you hear? With that, she bolted too, terrified that if she moved any slower I'd blow her away with a gunshot. I spat at their retreating backs. Bunch of goddamn cowards. Once everyone had cleared out, Fourth Grandpa let out a long breath. His whole back was drenched in sweat. He clapped me on the shoulder, his tone impossible to read. You little wild man. Was Lai Biao really worth throwing your own life away for? I immediately put on a grin, as if that cold-blooded killer from moments ago had never been me at all. Fourth Grandpa, guys like Lai Biao only respect force. If I hadn't put him in his place today, he'd just come back to cause trouble tomorrow. Sixth uncle chimed in beside me. That's right, fourth uncle. Shanha isn't reckless like that. He was just scaring Lai Biao. Fourth Grandpa didn't respond. He just swept those sharp eyes over sixth uncle and shook his head inwardly. It took me a while to understand what that look meant. People who hadn't lived through a hail of bullets were still too green. They couldn't smell death in the air. Fourth Grandpa had faced life and death more times than he could count, and he could tell at a glance whether a man was bluffing or truly ready to kill. The murderous chill I'd radiated a moment ago wasn't an act. It was the cold, absolute focus of a hunter locked onto prey, dead set on the kill. I didn't give him time to dwell on it. I quickly changed the subject. Fourth Grandpa, sixth uncle, don't just stand around. Each of you take 50 pounds of meat home. There's an unwritten rule among us hunters. Helping someone haul game down the mountain is a favor. Taking 8 or 10 pounds of meat as thanks is fair. But 50 pounds? Sixth uncle froze on the spot. Shanha, no way. We just lent a hand. We don't deserve this much meat. He waved his hands frantically, his weathered face flushing red. This boar was something I'd risked my neck for. He couldn't stomach taking such a huge cut. Fourth Grandpa, though, wasn't so fussy. He walked over and gave the massive beast a pat. This pig had to weigh at least 500 or 600 pounds alive. Once you drain the blood and gut it, there's still over 400 pounds of clean meat. Shanha couldn't finish it all if he ate it every meal. He drew the hunting knife from his belt, walked a half circle around the boar, and with a flick of his eyes, brought the blade down clean and quick. The edge weaved past the bones and followed the grain of the muscle. In no time, he'd separated 2 big slabs of well-marbled meat, hefted them once, and set them aside, right around 100 pounds. An old hunter's hands were a scale of their own. Shanha, deal with the rest of this meat fast. Give some away, salt the rest, Fourth Grandpa said, pushing the meat towards sixth uncle and turning to me. It's just barely autumn, still warm out. Fresh meat spoils in a couple days. Got it, Fourth Grandpa. After seeing the 2 elders off, I shut the gate and picked up that heavy butcher's knife again. The yard was thick with the smell of blood mixed with fresh meat, drawing a swarm of buzzing flies. I already had it planned out in my head. Keep 100 pounds for myself, send 100 to Brother Xuanju's family, and split the rest among the neighbors who'd helped me through my darkest days. I was hunched over cutting meat, sweat dripping down my forehead, when a timid figure peeked in through the gate. It was a girl, pale in that unhealthy way that comes from never seeing the sun, her frame so thin a stiff breeze could knock her over. She wore her hair in two thick black braids, the ends a little dry and yellowed. Her head was down, both hands clutching desperately at the hem of her shirt, pacing at the gate without daring to come inside. I looked up and recognized her. "HM, Sister Shioli, you came. Come on in. I was just about to bring some meat over to your place. It's all portioned out." It was Auntie Sue's daughter, Zhao Shioli. I'd figured Auntie Sue would send her son, but instead she'd sent this shy young girl in person. My greeting only made her more nervous. She shuffled in with tiny steps, her voice thin as a mosquito's whine. "Shanha, my mom said we can't take your things for nothing. I'll wash your clothes and tidy up the house for you." She started rolling up her sleeves, already washed thin and pale, revealing two pitifully skinny wrists. "Sister Shioli, what are you doing?" I said, half laughing, half exasperated, hurrying over to stop her. "It's just 2 pounds of meat. That's nothing. As long as you don't think it's too little, don't stand on ceremony with me." At my words, 2 red clouds shot up on her deathly pale cheeks, like peach blossoms falling on snow. She was so flustered her 2 index fingers twisted around each other, nearly tying themselves into a knot. Seeing her like that softened something in me. I quickly grabbed a cut of meat off the block, ran a straw cord through it, and pressed it into her hand. I said no need, so no need. "Take this and get home. Your mom's waiting." I knew how things were at her house. Her father had died on the battlefield, leaving Auntie Sue alone to raise her, a younger sister, and 2 younger brothers. Life was hard. Looking at how malnourished she was, I doubted she got a full meal on most days. "Shanha, thank you." She said it softly, then finally worked up the courage to steal a quick glance at me. Like a startled fawn, she clutched the meat and ran off without looking back. I stared after her for a moment and couldn't help laughing. Girls in this era really were pure in the sweetest way. I didn't waste any time getting the meat delivered. I hoisted that 100-pound slab onto my shoulder and headed for Brother Xuanju's house. Before leaving, I called out to Xiaodian, who was crouched by the gate. "Watch the house. Anyone comes barging in, bite him." Xiaodian tilted his head up and barked twice, loud and strong, like he was accepting his orders. Brother Xuanju's place was the one stop I absolutely had to make. Zhao Xuanju was my sworn brother. 4 years ago, that same giant boar had gored his leg clean through, leaving him bedridden and crippled ever since. Today, I'd killed that beast, and he was the first person I wanted to tell. The moment I stepped through the gate, a small figure came flying at me like a whirlwind. "Uncle Shana." It was Xuanju's daughter, Xiaoling. The little girl's eyes locked onto the meat on my shoulder, and she squealed. "Meat. So much meat." She was practically drooling. Hearing the shout, my sister-in-law Qin Yu hurried out of the main room. When her eyes fell on the massive slab of blood-red meat on my shoulder, she froze completely, hand flying up to cover her mouth. "Shanha, what kind of meat is this? Why so much?" Qin Yu had never in her life seen this much meat piled together. In an age where a full stomach was a luxury, meat was an unreachable dream. Since her husband became disabled, she'd probably forgotten what meat even tasted like. "Sis, it's wild boar. A big tusker." I grinned and set the meat down steady on the cutting board with a heavy thud. It was a big one. I brought over 100 pounds. "Take your time with it. What you can't eat, smoke it. It'll keep for a long time." Qin Yu finally snapped out of it. She grabbed a clean towel and stood on her tiptoes to wipe the sweat off my forehead and neck, then turned and poured me a big bowl of cool water. When I took the bowl, my palm accidentally brushed against her cool fingertips. Her face flushed red in an instant, and she yanked her hand back like she'd been shocked. I didn't think much of it. I was parched, so I lifted the bowl and drained it in one go. I let out a satisfied sigh, then glanced over and saw her staring at me, blushing hard. "Sis, what's wrong? Your face is so red, are you sick?" I'm fine." She quickly ducked her head and turned away. I didn't dig into it. I just tossed out, "I'm going to check on Brother Xuanju," and pushed through the curtain into the inner room. The smell of herbal medicine and the stale air of long bedridden days hit me at once. Brother Xuanju lay gaunt on the Kong, staring blankly at the beams overhead. When he heard my footsteps, he turned his head with effort. Seeing me, a spark of light finally crept into those dull eyes. Shauna, you got something? His voice was hoarse, disbelieving. This was, after all, my first solo hunt in the mountains. I walked to the edge of the Kong and lowered my voice, spacing out each word. Brother, that beast, the one that gored your leg, that big tusker, I killed it. The words hit him like a thunderclap. His eyes snapped wide, and a surge of strength burst from that lifeless body. He struggled to sit up, jarring his old wound and grimacing in pain. Shanha, say that again. I hurried over to steady him and prop him against the wall. Then I told him the whole story from start to finish, how I'd gone into the mountains, how Xiao had tracked the boar for me, how I'd finally brought it down. As he listened, this man in his 20s began to weep, tears rolling down his hollow cheeks. All the resentment, the bitterness, the pain that had been crushing his heart for so long, it all came pouring out at once. He cried like a helpless child. After crying for a while, he wiped his tears and suddenly grabbed my hand. But then his eyes slowly dimmed, taking on a hint of something dead. Shanha, I'm begging you. If I ever go, you have to be with your sister-in-law. Help me raise Linger and shouting. My heart lurched. A chill shot up from the soles of my feet. I hadn't realized his mind had already sunk this far. I gripped his hand back and pleaded urgently. Brother, what nonsense are you talking? Your leg just means you can't do heavy work. Give me a few days. I'll carve you a good crutch. You'll be able to hobble out to the fields no problem. And if you can't work the land, you can weave straw sandals and baskets at home to bring in some money. Don't you dare think anything foolish, you hear me? The fact that he'd started thinking about ending his life sent a wave of urgency through me like nothing before. I had to hunt more, earn money faster, enough to keep this whole family fed and clothed without worry. Only then could I stamp out the death wish taking root in his heart. We talked in hushed tones a while longer. Seeing him tire, I got up to leave. Stepping out of the inner room, I found Qin standing at the doorway, eyes rimmed red. She'd clearly heard everything. I sighed. Sis, keep a close eye on Brother Xuanju these next few days. I'm worried about him. Red-eyed, she nodded hard. Back at my own empty earthen house, I shut the door and immediately gave the system a mental command. System, take 2 hunting points from this haul and add them to my strength. That 500-pound boar today had taken 3 of us taking turns to haul back, and I was worn out. An 18-year-old strapping man like me couldn't outmatch 60-year-old fourth grandpa in strength. That was just wrong. For a hunter, stamina and strength were the coins that bought your life in the mountains. System has successfully allocated points for the host. Physical enhancement will complete after deep sleep, at which point the host will notice significant changes. Confirmation received. I didn't dwell on it. I bundled up each portion of meat with straw cord and delivered them one household at a time. These were the folks who, back when my parents died, had helped me arrange the funeral, or who'd given me a bite of food or a copper coin when I was on the brink of starving. A drop of kindness deserves a spring in return. That's my rule. Of course, I didn't forget the village chief either. Great-grandpa, I bagged a big tusker in the mountains today. I cut 10 pounds of meat for you. Come try it. The village chief, Zhao Fingyan, was my grandfather's cousin and a man whose word was law in the village. He was sitting under the old locust tree, smoking his dry tobacco pipe, squinting at me and slowly puffing out a smoke ring. Huh, you rascal. Word of you bagging that tusker has already blown all the way over here. What? Now you're playing the filial great-grandson. Trying to bribe me? Young punks these days, always up to no damn good. Great-grandpa, that's not fair. You and my grandfather were cousins. As a grandson paying respect to his grandfather, how is that a bribe? You little rascal, your mouth's getting slicker by the day. He looked pleased. Fine, put the meat down and scram. I gave a sheepish laugh, set the meat on the table, and instead of leaving, plopped down on a stool. Great-grandpa, when I went into the mountains today, I used Brother Xuanju's old rifle. You little brat, Xuanju's crippled. What does he need a gun for anymore? The village chief could tell right away I was up to something. I rubbed my hands and laid my cards on the table. What I had my eye on was the 3 Type 56 semi-automatic rifles that had recently been issued to the forestry station. They were brand new to civilian life, extremely rare, and normally only cadres and forest patrol teams had access to them. And the village chief's son, Zhao Early Eye, happened to be the forestry station's party secretary. Great-grandpa, I want to borrow one of Uncle Early Eye's Type 50 SIXS from the forestry station. Zhao Fengnian's mustache flew up and his eyes bulged. What kind of gas are you passing, boy? Those things are strictly regulated. Who the hell would lend one to you? All right, I was just asking. If not, forget it. I pouted. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. The village chief just laughed at my expression, turned, and disappeared into the inner room. A moment later, he came back out lugging a Type 38 rifle and 3 packs of ammunition. Since you're such a filial rascal, this gun, it's yours. I hugged that rifle and pranced happily out of the village chief's house. 10 pounds of meat for a rifle. Damn, this trip was more than worth it. The next day, before the sky had even fully brightened, I was still sound asleep when Xiao Yan's sharp, urgent barking jolted me awake. I threw on some clothes and stepped outside, and heard a crisp but hesitant girl's voice from beyond the gate. Shanha? Shanha, are you up? I yawned and pulled open the creaky wooden gate. Standing outside, of all people, was Zhao Xiuli. A bamboo basket hung from her arm, covered neatly with a clean blue cloth. Sister Xiuli, the sun's not even up. What are you doing here? Shanha, my mom steamed some cornmeal cakes and had me bring them over. She kept her head down, a little embarrassed. I'd just given her family 2 pounds of meat yesterday. Auntie Sue really did know how to handle relationships. Don't just stand out there, come in. She'd come this early to avoid gossip. At this hour, most folks in the village hadn't gotten up yet. She nodded, set the basket down, and while I went to wash my face in the yard, she went inside. When I came back in, I found her already folding my bedding. Whoa, Sister Xiuli, why are you folding my blankets? Her face flushed again in an instant. It's nothing. I noticed you had some dirty clothes. I'll wash them for you. Before I could stop her, she'd scooped up the dirty clothes from the Kong and carried them out to the yard. Watching her, something stirred in me. Sister Xiuli really was a woman who knew how to keep house. If a man married her, life would be so damn good. Sister Xiuli, I'm heading back into the mountains in a bit, I called out. I want to bag a few wieners, or yearlings this time. That big Tusker's meat. Man, it's just too tough to eat. Her shy expression eased a bit, and she shot me an exasperated look. You've got meat to eat, and you're still complaining. You're going into the mountains again? Zhao Xiuli's hands stopped mid-scrub, hovering over the wash basin. She looked up, her eyes wide with alarm, staring straight at me. I understood her shock. To the villagers, going into the mountains to hunt was as good as strapping your head to your belt. That's why after any hunter bagged big game, they'd rest 10 days or half a month. Partly to shake off the killing air on them, partly to let the mountain beasts forget the scent of the man. But I couldn't wait that long. Yeah, I grinned. That Tusker's meat is too tough to chew. Today I'm heading in to see if I can run into some wieners. That meat's tender as anything. If I bag one, I'll send one over to your place. The moment the words left my mouth, Sister Xiuli's face flared red, redder than the dawn sky. She buried her head, staring hard at the clothes in the basin, her hands scrubbing furiously as if she was trying to beat that garment into submission like it was iron. Girls in this era had hearts as clear as mountain spring water. Not a single ripple could stay hidden. That half-joking line of mine had landed way heavier in her ears than I'd meant. She finished the washing quickly, then stood on her tiptoes and hung each piece up on the line in the yard. When she was done, she stole a glance at me from the corner of her eye and spoke in a voice thin as a mosquito's hum. I have to go home now. The sky was already bright. Soon every household would be up, people would be out and about, and a young unmarried girl walking out of my yard would raise questions no one could easily answer. All right, wait for me to return victorious tonight. Sister Xiuli, already at the gate, paused. She turned, her face lined with worry. Shanha, be careful in the mountains. It's fine if you don't get anything, just don't push yourself. I nodded with a smile. Don't worry. With Sister Xiuli caring about me like this, of course I won't push it. The moment I said it, her face burned red all over again. Who cares about you? She snapped back, then whirled and ran off. That bashful figure retreating from view left my heart tumbling. Gotta save up money quick, I muttered, then turned to go eat. I forced down the last few tough, dry chunks of boar meat from the night before, packing my belly full. Xiaodian, though, I didn't feed to his fill, just a few bites to line his stomach. Hunting dogs going into the mountains follow the keep 'em 3 parts hungry rule. An empty belly gives them the hunting drive, sharpens their nose and ears. It was early autumn now, and mountain game was gorging itself to prepare for winter, all fat and full-bodied. Prime hunting season. I did the math in my head. With a little more luck, if I ran into a black bear, I'd really strike gold. A bear was a walking treasure trove. Just one bear gallbladder, dried and sold, was worth 2 months of a factory worker's wages. I cleaned my rifle, tucked the butcher knife into my belt, packed up flatbread, and filled my water flask, then whistled Shouty on along and headed out. But the second I reached the old locust tree at the edge of the village, I spotted a figure leaning against the trunk, a rifle also cradled in his arms, watching me with an ambiguous half-smile. Huh? Fourth Grandpa, are you heading into the mountains too? It was Fourth Grandpa, Zhao Junliang. That gaunt face of his broke into a smile full of wrinkles. Been waiting for you. Back when I first started hunting, I was so hooked I wanted to go right back the next day. You bagged a big tusker on your first trip. No way you're getting that itch out of your system that easy. I laughed sheepishly. No wonder they say old folks are foxes and old horses are sly. Fourth Grandpa was practically reading my mind. Come on, we team up today. He grabbed the sled and started pulling. Fourth Grandpa, let me. Zhao Junliang was 59, turning 60 after this winter. No way I was letting him pull the sled. Plus, the system had given me 2 strength points yesterday, and I wanted to test them out. Don't underestimate 2 points. For an adult, 2 extra points could mean a geometric leap in strength. I threw my shoulder into the sled harness. Damn, it really was noticeably lighter. Let's go, Fourth Grandpa. I called back. A flicker of surprise passed through Zhao Junliang's clouded but still sharp eyes, followed by an approving nod. 1 old man, 1 young man, and a dog. Together, we set foot in the Ileo Mountains once again. Shouty, remember the scent of that big tusker from yesterday? I patted his head. Let's find some of his kin today. Shouty seemed to understand. He barked twice and then stopped in his tracks. That huge head of his tilted up high, his nose sniffing hard at the cool morning air. Fourth Grandpa, following behind, saw this and his eyes went wide. His feet forgot how to walk. Most hunting dogs kept their heads low, sniffing the ground for tracks. But Xiaoyan's ability to lift his head and read the wind. Fourth Grandpa had lived nearly 60 years and had only heard of such a thing in old-timers' legends. Good heavens, he muttered. Xiaoyan's changed too much. Shanha, from now on, you treat this dog like your own brother. Remember this, a good hunting dog is a hunter's second life. About 10 minutes later, Xiaoyan seemed to catch something. He suddenly changed direction and shot off like an arrow. Fourth Grandpa and I chased right after him. The mountain path was rough, but we ran fast for a full half hour. Fourth Grandpa was getting on in years and started to pant heavily. I stopped to wait for him. Damn it, I'm old. I'm useless, he sighed. Fourth Grandpa, at your age you've still got stamina like this. Don't say useless. Your grandson here would be ashamed. Ha ha ha, you sweet-mouthed rascal. What man ever wants to admit he's old? Just as we were catching our breath, Shouty started barking. He's calling. When a dog starts barking, it means he's found game, and it's not far. Fourth Grandpa sprang up. Quick, follow him. We tracked the barking for about 10 minutes, pushed through a patch of dry yellow grass, and when I parted the stalks, there ahead was a mud wallow, and lying in that wallow were 6 wild boars. 1 big tusker, 3 weaners, and 2 yearlings. Shouty had already circled back to me silently, tail wagging like a rattle drum, wearing that "look what I did" expression. Shoo! I dropped my voice to almost nothing. Shouty not a sound. Fourth Grandpa and I exchanged a look. Neither of us said a word. He signaled with 1 hand. The ones on the right were his, the left one's mine. 1 old, 1 young. Both nodded at the same time and silently raised our Type 38 rifles, taking aim at those wild boars less than 200 meters away. The next second, without a word between us, we squeezed our triggers together. Bang! Bang! 2 shots ripped through the air. 1 wiener and 1 yearling dropped where they stood. I racked the bolt in a flash and drew a bead on the boars scrambling in every direction. Bang! Another shot, and a second wiener hit the dirt. On the other side, Fourth Grandpa's rifle fired again, and the last wiener went down. The big tusker and the remaining yearling had already vanished. Ha! Shanha, youth wins out. You're fast. Fourth grandpa came out of his daze. My speed had beaten his by a full 3 seconds. Later he told me over and over, in the army, that kind of speed would make me prime sniper material. Fourth grandpa, you weren't half bad either. What a shot. Dropping a tough-skinned yearling with a single bullet wasn't easy. Their thick coat of bristles plus a coating of mud was practically armor. To kill in one shot, you had to hit the head or heart dead on. I'd played it safe and aimed for the head, but fourth grandpa's shots had both gone straight through the heart. That kind of marksmanship. He had to have been a sharpshooter in the army back in the day. All right, enough flattery. Let's get over there and clean him. I patted Xiaodian. Go on, stand guard. Xiaodian bounded over, ran a circle around the 4 boars, sniffed each one thoroughly, confirmed no threats, then barked twice. Letting the hunting dog check first was a survival rule bred into our bones. Fourth grandpa, this is a huge haul. 3 wieners and a yearling. I was grinning ear to ear. Congratulations, host. Successfully killed 2 juvenile wild boars. Reward, 2 hunting points. The system's voice sounded off. I did the math in my head. The big tusker before had given me 3 points. I'd spent 2 on strength and had 1 left, and now with 2 more, I was back to 3. I drew the butcher knife, bled, skinned, and gutted them. In just over half an hour, I had it mostly done. I tossed the yearling's liver and heart to Xiaodian as a reward, and hung the rest of the innards on tree branches as an offering to the mountain god. Just as the 2 of us finished up, suddenly, a violent bear roar came echoing from deep in the forest. My heart lurched. Fourth grandpa shot to his feet, rifle already chambered and up in his hands. Xiaodian actually tucked his tail and dropped to the ground, trembling. Even the best hunting dog would instinctively cower at the roar of a bear. That was the pressure of the top of the food chain. Then, another roar came. Not good. Fourth grandpa's face changed. From the sound of it, there's not just a black bear, there's a brown bear too. A black bear had that crescent of white fur on its chest, was small and agile. A brown bear was much more massive, full-grown, one could fight a tiger. And here's the kicker. Black bears were on the brown bear's menu. If a brown bear caught a black bear, it was a guaranteed kill. Those 2 roars almost certainly meant a black bear had run into a brown bear. Shanha, let's go quick. Fourth grandpa knew all too well how terrifying a brown bear on the hunt could be. But my eyes lit up. I grabbed his arm. Fourth grandpa, this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. We hide, wait for the brown bear to kill the black bear, then we ambush the brown bear together. 2 bears in one day. When will we ever get another shot like this? This is the mantis stalks the cicada, but the oriole waits behind. Fourth grandpa splashed cold water on the idea. Boy, has success gone to your head? A bear's nose is unbelievably sharp. Unless it's holed up in a den sleeping, it'll smell you long before you get close. Fourth grandpa, there's a mud wallow right here. My mind clicked. We slather on the mud and sneak in. Mud seals in human scent, and once it dries into a hard crust, the smell is locked away. Even a bear 30 meters off wouldn't catch a whiff. I have to say, the second I said it, fourth grandpa's heart was moved too. 2 bears. He'd hunted his whole life and had only ever taken down 1 black bear. And that 1 kill had made him the top marksman in Kaoshan village. Well, fourth grandpa, 1 word, we doing this or not? Zhao Junliang gritted his teeth. He was almost 60. This might be his last chance in life to hunt a bear. Damn it. You think I've got less nerve than a green kid like you? Let's do it. I was thrilled. I squatted down beside him and started smearing mud, head to toe, not missing so much as our shoes. Lucky it was autumn and not too hot. Plus the brown bear had its full attention on the black bear. We had timing, terrain, and heart on our side. Once we were coated, I told Xiaodian to guard the pig carcasses. 2 mud-covered figures, 1 old, 1 young, crept toward the roars. Less than 20 minutes later, my sharp eyes spotted it, the black bear high up in a towering tree. And at the base of that giant trunk, a monstrously huge brown bear paced back and forth, agitated, its palm fan-sized paws slamming against the trunk in frustration. Adult brown bears have thick, dull claws and can't climb trees anymore, especially a giant tree like this that took several people just to embrace. It was stuck glaring up. But black bears were natural-born climbers. Old hunters say if you run into a brown bear in the wild and climb a tree, you might live. But if you meet a black bear, never climb, you'll never outclimb it. That black bear had already scaled to the very top of the canopy, practically a sitting duck. Even a fall from that height would take half its life. It was already in my pocket. The real challenge was the brown bear at the base. That beast had thick hide and tough flesh. At any distance, our Type 38s might not punch through to a vital spot. And if one shot didn't kill it outright, that monster's speed and rage would be terrifying. We exchanged a glance. Fourth Grandpa signaled with his hand, "Forget the one in the tree for now. Focus all firepower on the brown bear below." He pointed at his own head, then at me, then patted the spot over his heart. He was dividing up the work. I take the head, he takes the heart, double insurance. If I missed, the heart shot would still put it down. If he missed, my shot would kill. Using the shrubs for cover, we crawled another dozen meters, finally stopping at a perfect spot just 50 meters from the brown bear. I lay flat on the cool earth, my cheek pressed against the icy rifle stock, my eyes narrowed to slits, fitting the brown bear's silhouette into the sights. My breath grew long and shallow, as if it had stopped altogether. The moment wasn't right yet. The brown bear was still worked up, still circling. The best time to fire was when it ran out of patience and settled quietly beneath the tree, engaged in a waiting game with the black bear. The old man and I had patience to match that bear. A few unwary mosquitoes buzzed by our ears, but neither of us so much as blinked. Fourth Grandpa cut a glance at me from the corner of his eye, and inwardly a wave of shock rose up. This kid, on his first real ambush hunt for a bear, could lie there dead still like a corpse, not even the faintest muscle tremor. This was a bone-deep talent. He was born for this life. Half an hour later, the brown bear seemed to tire, and finally leaned against the tree trunk to rest. We exchanged a knowing look. The moment had come. The world seemed to freeze. All that remained in my eyes was the brown bear's head. 3, 2, 1. At Fourth Grandpa's whispered count, we pulled our triggers at the same instant. Bang! Bang! The brown bear let out a violent howl. Its massive body jerked, then collapsed like a mountain of flesh, sending up a cloud of dust and dead leaves. I didn't pause for a heartbeat. My right hand snapped to the bolt, yanked it back. The smoking hot casing leapt out with a wisp of blue smoke, then rammed it forward, chambering a new round. The whole motion flowed like water. I twisted at the waist and sprang up, whipping the barrel skyward, and without really aiming, running purely on a hunter's instinct, I put my sights on the trembling black shape in the treetop. Bang! The black bear in the tree didn't even have time to scream. Its body just seized up. Huh? Was that a miss? A flicker of doubt crossed Fourth Grandpa's rugged face. But before the words were fully out, the black bear dropped straight down from the top of that towering tree like a sack with its string cut. Thud! A heavy, dull sound as the black bear slammed into the ground. It twitched twice and went still. Even if the bullet had only grazed its skin, that fall from tens of meters up was enough to kill it. Shanha, finishing shots. Fourth Grandpa barked in a low voice. Hunter's rule: a dying big beast's last thrash can take out anyone who gets careless. Even though the system's ping had already sounded in my head, I obeyed without hesitation and put 2 more clean rounds into it. Congratulations, host. Successfully killed 1 adult brown bear. Reward: 6 hunting points. Congratulations, host. Successfully killed 1 rare black bear. Reward: 7 hunting points. When I saw those 2 words, rare black bear, my pupils shrank. Rare. That meant it had to be old. And for an old black bear, the odds of producing a gold gallbladder shot way up. My heart was pounding. Bear gallbladder was a precious medicine, and the golden, translucent gold gallbladder was the most prized, worth a fortune. Next came the black iron gallbladder. The lowest grade was the rapeseed gallbladder. Even the worst rapeseed gallbladder sold at the supply co-op fetched 30 yuan, a factory worker's whole month's wages. An iron gallbladder would fetch at least double. And gold gallbladder? The supply co-ops by price could hit 120 yuan. In this era, that was enough money to change a family's fate. We waited 5 full minutes, made sure the 2 beasts weren't moving, then carefully approached. Both were stone dead. Fourth Grandpa, we did it. We actually took down 2 bears. Ha ha ha. I couldn't contain myself anymore, pumping my fist and nearly jumping in the air. This was really my first bear hunt in the truest sense. Counting today, I'd only been into the mountains twice, and on the second trip, I'd taken out 2 bears. Fourth Grandpa's heart was churning too. He'd hunted his whole life, and only once, when young, had he been lucky enough to kill a black bear. This time was pure fortune. Running into a brown bear and black bear fighting each other, we'd hit the jackpot. Shanha, quick! Open him up. Let's see what kind of gallbladder. Layer by layer, I sliced open the black bear's hide. Extracting the gallbladder took skill, and I honestly didn't know how. Fourth Grandpa leaned in for a look, and his eyes bulged. Well, I'll be damned. You lucky little rascal. It's actually an iron gallbladder. At those words, my mouth immediately curled down. What? Just an iron gallbladder. I'd been hoping that since this was a rare black bear, we'd at least get a gold gallbladder. Fourth Grandpa burst out laughing at me and smacked me on the back. You ungrateful brat. Even getting an iron gallbladder is rare as hell. This thing will sell for at least 70 yuan at the supply co-op. That's over 3 months of a worker's wages, and you're still not satisfied. I laughed sheepishly and quickly tried to cover. I didn't say I wasn't satisfied. I just thought a gold gallbladder would have been even better. Your greed's gonna blind you. Fourth Grandpa glared. Any old bear that can grow a gold gallbladder is practically a spirit. It'd smell a human from 2 miles off and be long gone. You'd never even see it. Thinking about it, he was right. Bears like that could only be caught during winter hibernation. Fourth Grandpa, let's get out of here. If some other beast comes along, our joy could turn to disaster. With 2 bear gallbladders tucked against me, I was too excited to sit still. Fourth Grandpa laughed and scolded. You brat, where'd that killer nerve of yours go? Relax. The scent of these 2 bears is enough to keep every wolf and jackal from coming near, unless it's another big paw. Then his brow furrowed. But these 2 bears, how the hell are we going to haul them back? Today's haul was staggering. 2 huge bears, for fat wild boars, all piled on the ground like small hills. Even Fourth Grandpa, in a lifetime of hunting, had never seen a harvest like this. The little sled we'd brought couldn't haul 1 bear, let alone all this. You leave Xiaodian with me and run back to the village to get people, boy. Fourth Grandpa waved his hand. Every one of your uncles and elders, every last one, get them all out here. Otherwise, we won't get these treasures back before nightfall. I did the math. Fourth Grandpa, how about we skin the bears, chop the meat into chunks, and make a few trips? Fourth Grandpa's eyes flew wide and he cursed with a laugh. Damn it. You trying to work my old bones to death? What lousy ideas. We busted our humps to bag 2 whole bears, and we're not going to haul them back in one piece? Where's the glory in that? I instantly caught his drift. As the old saying goes, getting rich and not returning home is like walking in fine silk at night. We'd bagged 2 bears. If we didn't parade them into Kaoshan village whole and intact, showing off in front of every man and boy in the village, then what the hell was the point of hunting? Fourth Grandpa's title as Kaoshan village's top marksman had been earned with a single black bear all those years ago. Add these 2 on, and it had become a real golden legend. All right, Fourth Grandpa, I get it. I slapped my thigh. You take it easy. I'll run my legs off and be right back. I wasn't easy in my mind about it. I called Xiaodian back from where he was chewing on the boar innards and pointed sternly at Fourth Grandpa. Xiaodian, you listen to Fourth Grandpa, you hear me? Xiaodian tilted his head up and barked twice, tail spinning like a windmill. I took a sharp breath of cold air, spun around, and bolted back toward Kaoshan village. I ran with everything I had, not daring to stop even once. Leaving Fourth Grandpa, a man pushing 60, alone deep in the mountains with 2 blood-soaked bear carcasses beside him was pretty much the same as tossing him into a wolf den. After more than half an hour of running, my lungs feeling ready to burst, I finally caught sight of the chimney, smoke rising from the village. I charged straight to 6th Uncle Zhao Zhangwo's house and started pounding on the door. 6th Uncle. 6th Uncle. Open up. Zhao Zhangwo grabbed the shoulder pole behind the door, shuffled into his shoes, and rushed out with a murderous look on his face. What's going on, Shanha? Is that son of a bitch Lai Biao giving you trouble again? Come on. 6th Uncle settle this for you. Seeing him ready to defend me like that warmed my heart. Panting hard, I shook my head. It's not Lai Biao. Fourth Grandpa and I went hunting in the mountains today, and before I could finish, Zhao Jiangwo heard hunting combined with something happened, and his face went white in an instant. He dropped the pole with a clatter and grabbed my arm, trying to drag me out. His voice was trembling. Shanha, spit it out. What happened to fourth uncle? Is he hurt? Did you run into something big? He was shaking me so hard I got dizzy. I finally caught my breath and shouted, would you stop jumping to conclusions? What I'm trying to say is, we bagged 2 bears. 2 of them. They're too damn big to haul back. Round up my uncles and get as many men as you can. We need to go carry those bears out. The moment those words left my mouth, Zhao Jiangwo froze on the spot, staring at me wide-eyed like I was some kind of freak. He even reached up and felt my forehead. Nope, no fever. I wasn't delirious. Wait, Shanha, you're not messing with your 6th uncle, are you? Those are bears. 2 of them. Years ago, he'd seen with his own eyes the one bear fourth grandpa had bagged, but that hunt had taken several strong men working together. Now I was telling him that one nearly 60-year-old man, one half-grown kid, and a dog had quietly taken down 2 bears. If that wasn't a tall tale, what was? Come on, my dear 6th uncle. My hair's on fire here. Why would I lie to you? I stamped my foot in frustration. Fourth grandpa's still waiting up in the mountains. Every minute we waste, he's in more danger. Hurry up. At this point, true or false, Zhao Jiangwo knew fourth uncle's safety came first. He turned and started banging on doors, calling every man he could find. In no time, every able-bodied man in the Zhao family had been mobilized. Counting Zhao Jiangwo, 10 strong laborers came pouring in. They thought the Zhao family was being attacked and had come for a brawl. Every one of them had a shoulder pole, a shovel, or a pickaxe in hand, looking ready for war. Shanha, who the hell are we fighting? One of my uncles asked as he ran alongside me. I didn't have time to explain. I just waved my hand and barked out 4 words. Mountains. Carry. Bears. Out. This ragtag army marched off toward Ileo Mountain. The women left behind in the village stared in bewilderment. Dozens of them gathered at the village entrance, craning their necks and speculating wildly. Some said fourth uncle must have died up there, and they were going to fetch the body. Others said they must have bagged something huge. Back then, there wasn't much entertainment, so gossip was the favorite pastime. By the time I led that gasping herd of uncles and cousins to the hunting spot, every one of those 10 men, every single one, stood frozen in shock. Their tools nearly fell from their hands. Holy Mother of God. Shanha, you and fourth uncle, you really did bag 2 bears. Zhao Junliang stood there with his head high, pride radiating from every pore. In front of his nephews, fourth grandpa was finally getting his moment of glory. Fourth uncle, you're incredible. Still sharp as ever, fourth uncle. The chorus of praise had fourth grandpa practically floating. I'm getting old, he said modestly, but the smug pride on his face wouldn't hide. That brown bear, Shanha and I took down together. But that black bear? Shanha brought that one down all by himself. The Yangtze River's back waves. How does the saying go again? Suppressing a laugh, I coughed and helped him out. The back waves of the Yangtze pushed the front waves forward. Right, that's it. That's what I meant. When my uncles heard I'd killed the black bear on my own, they went dead silent, faces full of disbelief. This kid was only 18, barely had fuzz on his lip, and he could bag a bear? You little rascal. Look at you now. 6th Uncle Zhao Jiangwo walked over and slapped me on the back. That broad palm nearly knocked me off my feet. Ow. 6th Uncle, my scrawny body can't take that kind of slapping. That wisecrack got the uncles roaring with laughter. Everyone in hunting knew the truth. This game was about natural talent, especially when it came to shooting. Anyone who'd held a rifle knew. Wrong stance, and the recoil alone would knock you flat. Never mind aiming. All right. Enough messing around, fourth grandpa said. Seeing the attention shift entirely to me, he cleared his throat and grabbed back the spotlight. Cut some thick branches, rig up frames, and let's carry these bears home. We need to get off the mountain before dark. At his command, the 10 laborers sprang into action. With me and fourth grandpa, that made 12 men. Working in rotating teams, we hauled the 2 bears, each nearly 1,000 pounds. It was tough, but not overwhelming. I dragged the sled with the wild boar at the head of the group, while the others carried the bears in pairs. Off we marched toward Kaoshan village. When this strange procession entered the village, the gossiping women at the entrance fell silent almost simultaneously. Their eyes fixed first on the group, then were drawn to the two massive dark shapes. Once they made out what those shapes were, every one of them gasped in horror. Heavens above! It can't be. Those are black bears, one sharp-eyed woman screamed. Oh my God! Two of them. And so huge. The Zhao family's gonna be rich. The village entrance exploded into chaos. Everyone came running, calling their friends and family. The bold ones pressed close. The timid ones stood on tiptoes behind them, all trying to catch a glimpse of the beast they'd only heard about in legends. The uncles deliberately dropped the bears in the most conspicuous spot at the village entrance. Those massive paws, those steel-hooked claws, the women couldn't stop clucking their tongues in amazement. My God, fourth uncle, you took down these monsters? You really are Kaoshan Village's #1 gunman. Fourth grandpa stood in the middle of the adoring crowd like a star, soaking in the heartfelt praise. It felt better than 2 shots of hard liquor going down. He puffed out his chest, held his head high, and savored one of the finest moments of his life. But just as he was floating on cloud 9, sixth uncle's booming voice cut in at the worst possible moment. That brown bear was taken down by fourth uncle and Shanha together. He raised his voice deliberately and pointed at the bigger black bear, speaking each word clearly. But that black bear? Shanha brought that one down all by himself. The moment those words left his mouth, the bustling crowd fell dead silent. The smile froze on fourth grandpa's face. It was like someone had dumped a bucket of cold water on him. He nearly choked. He shot a glare at sixth uncle so fierce that even I felt sorry for the man. Seeing fourth grandpa look furious and deflated, I bit back my laugh and quickly stepped in to smooth things over. Aunties, ma'ams, if it weren't for fourth grandpa's experience taking me into the mountains and backing me up, I'd never have gotten near those bears. Like they say, a family with an old-timer has a treasure in the house. Hearing that, fourth grandpa's stiff expression immediately softened. The anger in his chest melted away, replaced by pure satisfaction. See there? My grandson really knows how to talk. That sixth uncle, honestly, no sense of tact. Sixth uncle's mouth twitched. He glared at me. You little brat. Only you know how to work people. I meant to praise you, and you stabbed me in the back. Just then, the women snapped out of their shock and swarmed around me, even more enthusiastic than they'd been around fourth grandpa. Shanha, you've really made something of yourself. If your parents could see this from the grave, they'd be so proud. Shanha, my brother has a daughter, pretty face, wide hips, good for bearing children. What do you say? Oh please, like your family's the only one with a niece. Shanha, don't listen to her. My niece's skin is white as green onion stem. You'll love her for sure. Bah, Sister Lu, your niece is what, 14? Butting in like this. So what? For more years, and she can marry. What's wrong with getting engaged now? The women were arguing so fiercely over matchmaking me that they nearly came to blows. And no wonder. My first big kill, they could chalk up to luck. But this second time going into the mountains, coming back with a black bear on my own, that wasn't something luck could explain. Fourth grandpa had hunted his whole life and only bagged one black bear when he was young. And that alone earned him the title of Kaoshan Village's #1 gunman for decades. Whichever girl married me would be eating meat every day. Someone in the crowd suddenly blurted out. So does that mean, from now on, Kaoshan Village's #1 gunman is going to be Shanha? Instantly, over 100 pairs of eyes locked onto fourth grandpa. The title of Kaoshan Village's #1 gunman had belonged to Zhao Junliang for decades. Now that mantle looked to be passing to some green kid who barely had hair on his lip. Everyone stretched their necks, waiting to see whether fourth grandpa would explode in anger or pull rank as the elder. But this time, those hoping for a show were bound to be disappointed. That weather-beaten face of his showed not a trace of displeasure. If anything, his smile grew wider. He reached out a hand the size of a palm leaf fan and clapped it heavily on my shoulder, laughing heartily. This is what they call the back waves push the front waves forward, each generation better than the last. The Zhao family has produced another top-notch hunter. His words rang out with conviction. I understood exactly what fourth grandpa meant. If someone with another surname had snatched away his title of #1 gunman, it would have been like a slap in the face. But if I took it, That was completely different. I might not be his flesh and blood grandson, but I was still a Zhao. The same blood flowed through me. This wasn't losing face. This was passing the torch. The Zhao family's hunting rifle had a worthy successor. Fourth grandpa never had children of his own. In his youth, he'd shouldered a rifle on the battlefield. By the time he came back, he was too old to find a wife. Watching me shine like this, he'd come to think of me as his real grandson. All right, quit standing around. Fourth grandpa waved his big hand and bellowed with full lungs. Haul the bears to Shauna's yard. Get moving. Everyone sprang back into motion. By now, practically every man, woman, and child in Kaoshan village had been alerted. Heads peeked out from behind window after window. Back at my somewhat rundown little courtyard, fourth grandpa immediately shot sixth uncle a meaningful look. Sixth uncle got the message and quickly called several of the burly Zhao brothers to plant themselves at the gate like door gods. You never know what's in another man's heart. With so many people around, some jealous bastard might try to make trouble. Losing a few chunks of meat in the chaos would be the least of it. If things really went sideways, that'd be a real headache. Watching the crowd outside grow denser and darker, even sixth uncle swallowed hard, palms sweating. Just then, a thunderous roar came from beyond the crowd. What the hell are you all doing? Got nothing better to do? Have you weeded all the fields? What are you crowded around here for? Get the hell out of here. All of you scatter. Village chief Zhao Fengyan had arrived. The moment he appeared, the crowd went silent. Part of it was his authority, but what really did the trick were the 6 or 7 militiamen behind him, each carrying a Type 38 rifle. In these times, authority alone wasn't enough. You needed muscle to back it up. With another furious roar from him, the people clogging my doorway reluctantly dispersed. The moment the village chief stepped into the yard, worldly and seasoned as he was, one look at those 2 massive bear carcasses made him swear out loud. Holy shit, you little bastard, you really did bag some bears. Yesterday, I'd visited his house and bragged that I'd bring back a bear and skin it for a coat for him. He'd taken it as young man's swagger. He never imagined that just one day later, a bear would actually be lying in my yard. Haha, great uncle. See, I told you I could bag a bear. There's your coat material right there. I grinned smugly. His mouth twitched. He strode over to the bear, squatted down, poked and prodded. In his younger days, he'd seen the black bear fourth grandpa had brought back, but that one was a size smaller than this. And that brown bear, its paw alone was bigger than his head. Not bad, kid, not bad at all. He stood up and dusted off his hands. All right, I just came to take a look and clear the crowd out for you. Wouldn't want anything to go wrong. I'd be the one in hot water as village chief. You go on with your business. There were too many eyes in the yard, so I didn't say much. Once most of the people had gone, I called the helpers together to start dividing up the meat. Sixth uncle, uncles, all of you. I cleared my throat. Thank you for your hard work today. Without you, I couldn't have gotten these 2 beasts back. Everyone who came today gets at least 2 pounds of bear meat and 2 pounds of pork. Take it home. Let the kids taste something good. Hearing they'd each get 4 pounds of meat, everyone's enthusiasm shot through the roof. They dove into the work with fire in their bellies. This wasn't ordinary meat. The year-old wild boar had that perfect fat to lean marbling, and bear meat was something they wouldn't have dared dream of. Ha ha ha. Shanha, next time something like this happens, don't forget your uncle. The uncles hoisted their heavy bundles of meat, spouting praise like it was free. I just smiled and nodded. Once everyone had left, satisfied, I barred the courtyard gate from the inside with a creak. Fourth grandpa, let's talk about how to split these 2 bears, I said, rubbing my hands seriously. The 2 gallbladders, plus the pelts and bones, can bring in a lot of money. The moment I said that, fourth grandpa's face darkened. He pointed at me and cursed. You little brat, trying to calculate shares with me? I've got 1 foot in the grave already. What the hell do I need a share for? All I need is a bite to eat. Every bit of those 2 bears, inside and out, belongs to you. At his age, money meant little. What mattered to him was face. And today, I'd given him plenty of it. Fourth grandpa, that won't do. One thing is one thing. Seeing him try to take only a small wild boar, I got worked up and leaned in, lowering my voice. You took the risk with me. You went up that mountain, put in the work, and stood guard for me. You have to take a share. Fourth grandpa's eyes bulged. His palm leaf hand nearly came down on my head. Don't talk nonsense. What the hell would I do with all that money at my age? Take it to my coffin? I'll take this little yellow-haired boar and go. That's enough for a good meal. But hand over those 2 gallbladders first. I'm afraid you'll ruin them and waste the good stuff. I sighed. I knew Fourth Grandpa's temper. If he said no, and you forced it on him, he'd throw it back in your face. All right, whatever you say, Fourth Grandpa. After the meat was handled, Fourth Grandpa didn't rush off. Instead, he dragged over a stool and sat down. Shanha, come here. I need to talk to you about something. I crouched down beside him. What is it, Fourth Grandpa? He mulled it over for a moment, seemingly picking his words carefully. About you and your sister-in-law Chinyu. There's been a lot of gossip going around lately. I know you feel sorry for their family, but could you not be so open about it? 100+ pounds of pork, can't you deliver it after dark on the quiet? In those days, if your reputation got trashed, even a man would have trouble finding a wife. And I was famous now. Who knew how many people were angling to set me up with their daughters? Fourth Grandpa, you know that after my parents died, it was second uncle and second aunt who raised me. Now that brother Xuanzhu is the way he is, I can't just abandon his family. Fourth Grandpa sighed. He knew I had a conscience, but other people wouldn't see it that way. You and that Chinyu girl, there's really nothing between you? That question out of nowhere made my head spin. Fourth Grandpa, don't you know me? Would I ever do something like that? I look at brother Xuanzhu like a real brother, and sister Qin, you like a real sister-in-law. Only then did Fourth Grandpa relax. He'd truly been afraid I'd lose my head and do something I'd regret. With my abilities, I could marry any kind of girl I wanted. That Su Chui's daughter isn't bad. She even brought you breakfast this morning. At that, he grinned and started teasing me. Unexpectedly, I didn't push back. I just went along with it. Yeah, Sister Shioli is nice. Fourth Grandpa's heart leaped with joy at hearing that. So there was hope after all. Haha, boy, if you like her, be smart about it. Take a half side of that boar over to her family. Show your intentions. In times like these, real goods speak louder than sweet words. If you're too embarrassed to say it yourself, I'll put my old face on the line and speak to them for you. Aunt Sue's family was scraping by, but at least they had Xuanzhu's father's. No, her husband's, martyr's pension to lean on. Zhao Xioli and her sisters were grown enough to help around the house. Over the years, Fourth Grandpa had always brought them a share of whatever he hunted. Though the families had drifted apart over the generations, they were all still Zhao's. Fourth Grandpa, I understand. I felt a little embarrassed and scratched my head. I'll go deliver the pork in a bit. Fourth Grandpa smiled with satisfaction. Childless as he was, he'd long since come to see me, an orphan, as his own grandson. If he could live to see me married and my house full of life again, that would fulfill one of his greatest wishes. All right, I'm taking this little boar with me. Fourth Grandpa stood up with a grunt, bent over, hoisted the several dozen-pound boar effortlessly onto his shoulder, and walked off with steady steps, not a hint of old age about him. After seeing Fourth Grandpa off, I picked up the gleaming, well-honed butcher knife, chopped the remaining boar in half with a few sharp strokes. The half weighed maybe 20 pounds. Yesterday, I'd sent Sister Shioli's family the meat from a male wild boar, which was tough and gamey, not particularly tasty. But this young boar's meat would be far more tender and fresh. Then my eyes fell on the 2 massive bear paws. Glossy black fur, hooked claws, radiating a wild kind of majesty. People said bear paw was one of the finest delicacies in the world, but I had no idea how to prepare it. Perfect. I'd bring one along and ask Aunt Sue if she knew how to cook it. She'd been running a household her whole life. Maybe she'd know. Decision made. I told Xiaodian to guard the yard, lock the gate, and set off towards Sister Shioli's house deep in the alley. Half a boar in one hand, a heavy bear paw in the other. Just as I reached the familiar courtyard gate, before I could even raise my hand to knock, the door creaked open, and I nearly ran smack into Aunt Sue, who was on her way out. Oh my! Shanha, what brings you here? She was startled at first. Then her eyes latched onto the slab of white pork on my shoulder like they had hooks in them. Every wrinkle on her face bloomed into a smile. Aunt, I brought some young boar meat for you. This meat's tender, way better than that big male one from yesterday. I smiled and handed her the meat, then held up the bear paw with my other hand. Oh, and this too. Everyone says bear paw is delicious, but I've never seen one before. No idea how to cook it. I was hoping you might know how to prepare it. Seeing me bring over so much meat, Su Chui was overjoyed. Oh, Shanha, bringing so much meat. I thought you came to propose. Shioli, come out and help. Shauna's here. Sister Shioli heard the commotion, lifted the door curtain, and came out. Her face was flushed pink, her head almost buried in her chest, eyes glued to her own toes. She didn't dare look at me. She just held out both hands and murmured, "Let me take that." Then she lifted the 20-plus pound slab of meat off my shoulder, balanced it easily on her own with a graceful turn of her wrist, and headed inside as smoothly as any seasoned hand. Hey, you little thing, did you leave your soul somewhere? Aunt Sue raised her voice on purpose. Sean is here, and you don't even say hello? Just march inside with your head down. Where are your manners? That made Sister Shioli's face go even redder, like blood was about to drip from it. She quickened her pace and practically fled into the house. Don't take it to heart, Shanha. That silly girl's only bold at home. She sees you and turns into a mute. She's just shy. That's all. Aunt Sue's words couldn't have been more direct. She was clearly trying to push us together. It's fine, Aunt. Sister Shioli is really nice. I smiled sheepishly and steered the conversation elsewhere. Oh, right. Aunt, do you know how to cook this bear paw? Aunt Sue was no fool. The moment she heard that, she knew exactly what was happening. This was an opening I'd handed her. Whether she knew how or not, she was going to say she did. Shanha, you've asked the right person. Cooking bear paw is quite an art. Come inside, and I'll tell you all about it. As she ushered me in, she called toward the house. Second, third, fourth. Come out and see who's here. Say hi to your brother Shanha. Aunt Sue had 4 kids. Eldest daughter Shioli, 21. Second daughter Xiomei, my age, just turned 18. Third child, son Jinglei, 16. And the youngest, Jingyu, only 10. Brother Shanha, you're here. A gangly boy shot out. It was Jinglei, looking at me with worshipful eyes. You're amazing. A black bear. How'd you take it down? Another girl followed him out, Xiomei. Unlike her older sister, she wasn't shy. Her big bright eyes kept stealing glances at me. Just lucky, really. So it was like this. I didn't bother being modest. I pulled up a small stool, sat down, and started telling the tale of my hair-raising hunt in vivid detail. Aunt Sue and Sister Shioli were busy in the outer room, one washing rice, one dealing with the meat. But my story had so many twists and turns that even they got itchy to hear more and ended up leaning against the doorway, ears cocked. There wasn't much entertainment those days, and my storytelling was more gripping than a professional storyteller's. Brother Shanha, next time you go hunting, can you take me along? Jinglei's blood was pumping, especially after the bear hunting part. He wished he'd been there himself. I glanced toward Aunt Sue and smiled. I don't mind, but I'm worried your mom won't want to let you go. Hunting in the mountains was a game played on the edge of a knife. Mom, I want to go hunting with Brother Shanha. Jinglei ran straight to Aunt Sue, chin up. Aunt Sue didn't refuse outright. She scolded with a laugh. You think going into the mountains is like going to market? With your amateur skills, you'd just slow Brother Shanha down. But she was thinking it over. The family's finances were tight. If Jinglei could learn even a fraction of hunting skills, it would be another lifeline for this big family. She looked at me questioningly. Shanha, do you think this boy has what it takes? Aunt, talking about it doesn't tell us much. I smiled. In a couple of days, I'll take him into the mountains, just around the outskirts, and see what he's made of. Aunt Sue nodded thoughtfully and turned back to her work. An hour later, the smell of cooking filled the whole yard. Aunt Sue had spared no expense this time. She even steamed sorghum rice, something she wouldn't touch even at New Year's. Bowls of steaming meat dishes covered the small square table. The youngest, Jingyu, stared at the sizzling, glistening meat, drool practically dripping to the floor. Shioli, don't just stand there. Get Shanha seated for dinner. Sister Shioli kept her head down the whole time, the flush never leaving her cheeks. The small table was tight. With everyone seated, only one spot to my right remained. She stood by the table pinching the hem of her clothes, unable to bring herself to walk over. Finally, Aunt Sue couldn't stand it anymore. She grabbed Shioli by the hand and firmly plunked her down next to me. Shanha, your aunt's not good with words. Aunt Sue picked up her cup, her eyes going red at the rims. You bring us meat every time you go hunting, thinking of our family. Your aunt is grateful from the bottom of her heart. All these years, us widow and orphans have had it so tight, and we've never met anyone as good as you." Her voice began to shake, tears welling in her eyes. Xiaomei quickly patted her mother's back. "Mom, Shauna bringing us meat is a happy thing. What are you crying for?" Aunt Sue wiped her tears, shot her a glare, and scolded with a laugh. "You silly girl, no respect. Calling him Shauna. Even if you're not calling him brother-in-law yet, you should at least call him Big Brother." "Mom, Shauna's a month younger than me. Making me call him Big Brother doesn't make sense." Xiaomei retorted at once, not one to back down. The moment those words left her mouth, Aunt Sue's face froze. "Wait a minute. Even she didn't know my birthday. How did the second daughter know?" Sister Shioli lifted her head too, looking at her younger sister in confusion. "Cough, cough. We played house so much as kids, I just picked it up." Xiaomei realized her slip and quickly covered with a fake cough. For a moment, an awkward silence hung over the table. But the two younger brothers hadn't caught on. They were still shoveling fat meat into their mouths. Sister Shioli picked up a piece of meat with her chopsticks, hesitating over whether to place it in my bowl. Just then, Xiaomei reached across the table from her side and dropped a big piece into my bowl. "Shanha, try my mom's cooking." Sister Shioli's chopsticks froze mid-air, the awkwardness deepening. Aunt Sue was quick-witted. She picked up her bowl and leaned toward her eldest daughter to save the moment. "Ah, my big girl is so sweet to her mother." Sister Shioli took the cue and placed her piece of meat in Aunt Sue's bowl instead. Jinglei, oblivious, grabbed the biggest chunk and piled it on top too, and Jingyu followed suit. In no time, Aunt Sue's bowl was a mountain of meat. I sat there squirming, sweat forming on my back. What a mess this dinner had turned into. It felt like being marched to an execution. That piece of meat Xiaomei had placed in my bowl. Eating it felt wrong, but so did leaving it. Did Xiaomei have feelings for me? Couldn't be, right? My mind kept turning it over. We couldn't really be called childhood sweethearts. Sure, we played and gotten into mischief together as kids, but as we grew up, boys and girls kept their distance, especially after I moved in with second uncle. We barely saw each other after that. Meanwhile, in Aunt Sue's heart, everything was a tangled mess. Later, I'd slowly pieced together what she'd been thinking. She'd been so certain I was interested in her eldest daughter because of Shioli's behavior. At 21, matchmakers had worn out her doorstep, and Shioli had refused every one of them, no matter how hard anyone tried to persuade her. But a few days ago, when Aunt Sue had asked Shioli to come to my house for meat, the girl hadn't refused for once. The next day, she'd volunteered to bring me food. Having lived through it herself, Aunt Sue had lit up. This has to mean she's smitten with him. And now, seeing me bring meat and agree to take Jinglei hunting, with my eyes drifting toward Shioli, she was certain I'd fallen for her eldest daughter. But today's string of moves by the second daughter made Aunt Sue's heart leap into her throat. Could it be that Xiaomei liked me too? If that were the case, two sisters falling for the same man, what would people say? Throughout that meal, except for the two clueless boys who ate their fill, the other three of us had our thoughts 1,000 miles away. The food might as well have been sawdust. "Aunt, I'm full. I'll head home now. I'll come see you again another day." I couldn't sit there another moment. I gulped down a few bites and stood up. The atmosphere was so awkward I felt like I'd suffocate if I stayed any longer. Aunt Sue absent-mindedly cleared the dishes. "Shanha, your aunt's got the bear paw all prepared. It's soaking in cooking wine and spices right now. Day after tomorrow, I'll send Jinglei to fetch you for dinner." I nodded and turned to leave. Suddenly Xiaomei sprang up from her stool, hurried to my side, a bright smile on her face. "Mom, it's getting dark. I'll walk Shauna home." The moment those words came out, Sister Shioli, who was clearing dishes, jerked visibly. The bowls in her hands clinked softly. She kept her head down, said nothing, but everyone in the yard could feel the sadness and hurt radiating off her. Aunt Sue's face froze too. Now she was 100% certain her second daughter had definitely fallen for me. And clearly, Xiaomei was far more forward and outgoing than her older sister. Palm or back of the hand, both were her flesh. She had no idea what to do. Her mind was in complete chaos. Sister Shioli never raised her head, never said a word. She just quietly picked up the dishes and, like a puppet drained of feeling, walked step by step toward the outer room. But Xiaomei didn't notice a thing. She even gave my arm a friendly tug. "Come on, Shanha, I'll walk with you." Inside I was groaning, but I couldn't very well embarrass the girl by refusing. Watching this scene, Aunt Sue closed her eyes, a pained look crossing her face. The two dumb boys hadn't caught on. They were still cheering about eating bear paw the day after next, dancing with excitement. What happened after I left, Aunt Sue told me about later. She couldn't stop worrying, so she followed into the outer room. In the dim lamplight, Sister Shioli wasn't washing dishes. She just stood there frozen, holding the stack of bowls, staring blankly as if her soul had left her body. Aunt Sue let out a silent sigh, walked over, and gently patted her shoulder. Big girl, big girl. Sister Shioli jolted as if waking from a dream. Her hand trembled, and one of the bowls slipped from her grasp, shattering to pieces on the packed earth floor. That sharp shattering sound was like a switch being flipped. The next moment, tears the size of beans rolled from her eyes, one after another, splashing onto the ground. She couldn't hold it in any longer. She sank slowly to the ground, buried her face deep in her knees, shoulders shaking violently. She didn't even dare cry out loud. Only the most suppressed, choked sobs escaped from her throat. The sight broke Aunt Sue's heart. Over all these years, her eldest daughter had suffered so much. As the firstborn, she'd always let the food and comforts go to her younger siblings. She'd been working in the fields and running the household since she was very small. Her hands had grown calloused, far rougher than other girls her age. "Oh, big girl, don't cry." Aunt Sue crouched down too, pulling her daughter into her arms. "Shanha brought us meat today and agreed to take Jinglei hunting. That's clearly because of you. It means he definitely has feelings for you." She stroked her daughter's trembling back and spoke each word with grave seriousness. "You're grown now, and Mama wants to tell you this. Some things you can yield to others. Giving in is a kindness. But there are some things in life you only get one shot at. Those you cannot give up. Give them up, and you'll regret it forever." She knew this wasn't quite fair to Shiomei, but palm or back of the hand, both were her flesh, and there was such a thing as who came first. After all, Shioli had developed feelings for me before Shiomei. "Mom." Sister Shioli jerked her head up, gazing at her mother through teary eyes. She never expected her mother to say something like that. All her life, she'd been raised to be sensible, to yield, to look after her younger siblings. That's what had made her so introverted, someone who buried everything inside. There. Mama knows you've suffered so much all these years." Aunt Sue wiped the tears from her cheeks, her eyes full of tenderness and resolve. "Shanha is a good man, reliable, capable, and kind-hearted. If you marry him, you won't have to swallow any grievances at home. You'll have a good life." Hearing this, Sister Shioli seemed to freeze in place. The tears that had been flooding down miraculously stopped at her mother's words. In their place, a warmth surged from her chest straight up to her face. She hurriedly bowed her head, her gaze falling to her dirt-stained shoes. "Just wait till Second comes back. See if I don't give her a piece of my mind." Aunt Sue looked at her eldest daughter and felt both aching sympathy and exasperation. The nerve of that girl, no respect for order. But Sister Shioli just shook her head softly, her voice barely a whisper. "Mom, don't blame Second. It's just that Shanha is too wonderful." That was her real feelings. It was only later, when Aunt Sue recounted all this to me, that I truly understood the grievances and secret thoughts Shioli had held inside. "Would you look at yourself, defending your sister already?" Aunt Sue stretched out a finger and tapped her forehead in mock exasperation. "Have you forgotten how you were crying your eyes out just a moment ago?" Sister Shioli felt embarrassed, pouted, and crouched down to pick up the shards one by one, as if she were trying to sweep away both her sadness from before and her shy embarrassment now. Meanwhile, I was being pulled along by Shiomei, walking quite a distance. Twilight was falling, and the village paths had already grown dim. "Shiomei, if there's nothing else, you should head back. It's getting dark. It wouldn't look good if someone saw us." Shiomei blinked her big eyes and, instead of leaving, pressed even closer. "Zhao Shanha, if a girl like me isn't afraid, what are you afraid of?" I had to admit, this girl was truly outgoing. She had that bold, straightforward spirit of a northeastern girl. "Ahem, I'm going to be your brother-in-law someday." She just clicked her tongue and muttered under her breath. "Nothing's settled yet. Who knows who'll end up with whom?" "What did you say?" A few words drifted on the wind, but I didn't catch them clearly. Shiomei suddenly arched her eyebrow, a teasing smile on her face, and boldly quipped, "What? Haven't you heard the saying? A little sister-in-law is half a." Before that daring phrase could finish, my brain went buzz. Without thinking, I clapped my hand over her loose-tongued mouth. "You're a young lady. What kind of nonsense are you spouting?" In that instant, time seemed to freeze. The two of us were pressed close together. Shiome could smell the mixture of sweat and soap tree scent on me clearly. As bold and carefree as she was, her pretty face flushed bright red all the way to her ears. She batted my hand away like she'd been shocked, at a loss for words. I'll head back now." Before her voice had even faded, she bolted like a startled rabbit, not once looking back. I stood there watching her flustered figure recede into the distance and let out a helpless sigh. What a mess I'd gotten myself into. When I got home, before I even entered the yard, I spotted Fourth Grandpa squatting at my gate, smoking a pipe, 3 dogs on leashes beside him. The pipe's ember glowed on and off in the dusk. "Huh? Fourth Grandpa, what brings you here?" Fourth Grandpa looked up. Seeing that I was coming from the direction of Sister Shioli's house, a satisfied smile spread across his weathered face. Finally, the boy was getting it, learning to visit the girl's house. "These 3 hunting dogs, I brought them for you." He stood up and dusted himself off. Puzzled, I quickly stepped forward, unlocked the gate, and welcomed him in. The 3 dogs entered the yard, but the moment they saw Xiaotian lying at the door, not one of them dared to bark. Instead, as if by silent agreement, they all lowered their bodies, low, uneasy growls rumbling in their throats, then flattened themselves completely to the ground, tails tucked tight. "Huh? Xiaotian's this impressive." I was still marveling when Fourth Grandpa smacked me on the back of the head. "What are you dreaming about? Look where Xiaotian's lying." Following his finger, I finally noticed Xiaotian was lazily sprawled right next to that massive brown bear pelt and the black bear pelt. The 3 dogs had caught the strong scent of predators and been frightened out of their wits. There's a saying about a fox borrowing the tiger's might. Right now, Xiaotian had borrowed the bear's might. "Fourth Grandpa, what did you bring these 3 dogs over here for?" I poured him a bowl of water. Fourth Grandpa took a sip and sighed. "I'm getting on in years. I probably don't have the strength for many more trips into the mountains." He pointed at each of the 3 dogs in turn. "The yellow and black striped one is called Damao. He's a rare low-nose hound, specializes in tracking scents on the ground. The other 2 are Huzi and Baozi. They're regular hunting dogs, but I train them all myself. These 3 dogs, I'm giving them to you." His voice carried deep reluctance. "I hope with you, they'll keep running in the mountains. They'd waste away as watchdogs here with me." My heart skipped a beat. I understood the old hunter's code. When a veteran hunter entrusts his prized hunting dogs to someone else, it isn't just about handing over animals. It's a passing of the torch, a way of saying he truly considers you his successor. "Fourth Grandpa, don't you worry. I'll take good care of them." I promised solemnly. Fourth Grandpa nodded and unclipped the leashes. The 3 dogs cautiously approached Xiaotian, sniffing him out. Xiaotian was already exceptionally smart, and now, on his home turf with his master backing him up, that top dog when the boss is home swagger kicked in immediately. Within minutes, he'd firmly established dominance over the alpha, Damao. The other 2 saw their leader submit and lowered their heads obediently too. "Well, I'll be damned. This Xiaotian of yours is really something." Fourth Grandpa's eyes went wide. He knew better than anyone how vicious Damao could be, and yet the beast had been tamed in under 10 minutes. "Fourth Grandpa, Xiaotian's a nose-up tracker, smart as a whip." I couldn't hide my pride. Fourth Grandpa nodded, his eyes brimming with envy. He was probably thinking that if he'd had a dog like Xiaotian back in his younger days, his reputation across the countryside would be even louder than it already was. "Oh, right, Fourth Grandpa, don't rush off. Come over the day after tomorrow. We're having bear paw at Shioli's place." Bear paw? Forget eating it. I'd never even seen one my whole life. Even a seasoned bear hunter like Fourth Grandpa had never tasted it. Back then, things were even poorer than they are now. Anyone lucky enough to bag such a delicacy would trade it away for grain in a heartbeat. Nobody kept it for themselves. "You little brat, you really don't know the value of $1. Actually gonna eat that stuff?" Fourth Grandpa stopped in his tracks and shot me a glare over his shoulder, though a smile tugged at his lips. Bear paw's worth serious money these days. You could sell it in town for a nice sum. Instead of saving up to get married, you'd rather blow it on your stomach. But that gleam of anticipation in his cloudy old eyes gave him away. I hear you, fourth grandpa, but I've never had it before. I'm just itching to try it. Fourth grandpa nodded, satisfied, then lowered his voice and turned serious. That bear gallbladder. I've hung it up on a rope from the beam to air dry. Come spring next year, when its medicinal properties peak, it'll fetch a good price. You want to sell it to the supply co-op or go through the black market? I'd originally planned to play it safe with the co-op, but hearing that black market prices were double and that you could find other hard-to-get goods there changed my mind. As someone from the future, I knew what was coming. Starting late next year, a massive famine would sweep across the country, lasting 3 whole years. I had to use this year to hunt more, trade for more money and food, and prepare in advance. Fourth grandpa, I think the black market's the way to go. I want to stock up on grain anyway. In this era, you needed ration tickets to buy grain. Money alone wouldn't cut it. All right, come spring, I'll take you to the black market. With that, fourth grandpa stood up and left. After seeing him off, it took me nearly an hour to fully skin the brown bear. I'd promised the village chief, so I had to deliver. Besides, I'd need his help plenty more times down the road. Under cover of nightfall, I gathered up the bear hide and headed to his house. Great auntie, I called out as I stepped into the yard, spotting her washing clothes. Oh my, Shanha, what brings you here? She set down the laundry and stood up with a smile. Heh, I brought a bear hide for great uncle. Her face darkened instantly. She turned toward the inner room and hollered. Zhao Fengyan, you no-good bastard. Get your ass out here. The village chief emerged from the inner room, bewildered. What? Yelling at me again. Then he saw me standing there grinning, holding a huge bear hide, while his wife glared daggers at him. He was totally lost. Huh? Shanha, what are you doing here? Before I could get a word in, Great Auntie stormed over and grabbed hold of his ear. So, being village chief all these years has gone to your head, huh? Now you're shaking down the youngsters for gifts? Where's your shame? The chief winced in pain, looking utterly wronged. Now hold on. Woman, when the hell did I ever demand anything from a young-un? Shanha just brought you a bear hide, and you're still gonna argue with me. The chief finally caught on, indignant and hurting. Who the hell asked him for anything? Yesterday, this little brat was bragging in front of me, saying if he ever bagged a bear, he'd give me one of the hides. Who knew he'd actually do it the very next day? And besides, I never even agreed. Still gripping his ear, Great Auntie turned to me and asked sharply, that true? I was still reeling from Great Auntie's fierce side. Usually she was known throughout the village as the sweetest, most easygoing woman, all smiles for everyone. I never imagined she was such a spitfire at home. I gulped. Ahem, Great Auntie, that's, actually how it went down. Only then did she let go, half convinced. The chief rubbed his throbbing ear and glared at me. Shanha, why the hell didn't you set your Great Auntie straight right away? Damn near tore my ear off. But Great Auntie shot him a stern look. What are you glaring at Shanha for? If the shoe fits, wear it. If it doesn't, take it as a lesson. Understand, Great Auntie had been born to a well-off family, attended a private school as a girl, and even taught at a village school for a few years after liberation. When that scholarly authority came out, even I couldn't help but shiver a little, let alone the chief. Shanha, she turned to me, her tone softening but her attitude firm. Take this hide right back home. We can't accept it. That's right. You think I'd really take your bear hide? Get it out of here. Great Auntie, great uncle, it's already autumn. Winters around here get brutal. I quickly argued. This brown bear hide is huge. You two can make 2 bear fur coats out of it. Nice and warm. Winters in northeast China regularly hit 20 to 30 below zero and could drop as low as -50. In those days, folks in the countryside survived winter with heated brick beds and thick clothing. That was it. You little rascal. Great Auntie scolded with a laugh, but her heart was warmed. You brat, take it back. I don't need it. The chief was thrilled inside but kept blustering. Great Auntie, I already carried it all the way here. I can't just haul it back. This thing's heavy. I dropped the hide on the ground and made to leave. The chief grabbed me and insisted I take it back. We tugged and pulled for a while before Great Auntie finally spoke up. Shanha, here's what we'll do. You don't know how to work bear hide, so leave it here. You're out hunting all the time, and winter's brutal. Great Auntie will make you a bear fur coat. Keep you warm out in the mountains. Haha, Great Auntie, you're the best. But I've got another bear hide. A black bear, a bit smaller than this one. If you make me a coat from that one, that'll be plenty. This brown bear hide is the biggest and thickest. You and Great Uncle should keep it for yourselves. Make a coat or a bed mat. Winter nights on the Kong won't feel cold at all. With that, I turned and bolted out of the yard. A moment later, I ran back holding the rolled-up black bear hide and dropped it on the ground. Great Uncle, Great Auntie, I'm heading home. I didn't give them a chance to protest. I took off in a flash. The next morning, I was still deep in sleep when the barking of dogs in the yard woke me up. Yawning, I stepped outside, and there was Shirley again. Sister Shirley, what's up? This time she didn't shyly duck her head. Her big, watery eyes stared straight into mine. Shanha, there's something I need to tell you. I froze. Seeing how serious she looked, I thought something must be wrong and quickly ushered her inside. We sat on opposite ends of the Kong, some distance between us, the atmosphere tinged with both awkwardness and something warmer. Sister Shirley, what's really going on? She gripped the hem of her shirt tightly, as if she'd made up her mind about something. Shanha, I like you. Will you? Will you marry me? My mind exploded. For a moment, everything went blank. I stared at her, wide-eyed, in utter disbelief. In those days, village marriages were almost always arranged. Parents' orders, matchmakers' words. For a girl to come to a man's door and confess her feelings was unheard of. Plus, girls in the village usually married at 18 or 19. Someone like her, still unmarried at 21, was already being gossiped about behind her back, labeled an old maid. Wait, Sister Shirley, you really like me? I racked my brain. We'd seen each other often as kids, sure, but the actual conversations we'd had could probably be counted on one hand. There wasn't any special history between us. Her face flushed as red as a ripe apple, all the way to her ears. She ducked her head, but nodded emphatically. I know Xiaomei likes you too, she said, her voice as soft as a mosquito's hum, but every word crystal clear. She's my little sister, and I know I shouldn't be competing with her. But my mother told me, some things you can let go, and letting them go shows kindness. But some things only come around once in a lifetime, and those you can't let go. She raised her head again, eyes brimming with tears she stubbornly refused to let fall. Shanha, I really do like you. I've liked you for a long, long time. I was completely lost. My brain was mush. Like me for a long time? I had zero memory of anything that would have caused that. I didn't exactly have shining qualities either. Unless you counted being good at hunting, I was just a poor kid. Wait, Sister Shirley, when exactly did you start liking me? She bit her lip and stubbornly shook her head, refusing to answer. Instead, she scooted a little closer, pinning me with her stare. Never mind that. Just tell me, will you marry me or not? If yes, get a matchmaker and come to my house to propose. If no, then pretend I never came today, and pretend I never said any of this. Shirley seemed like a different person today. There was a fierce, do-or-die resolve about her that she'd never shown in her 21 years. Sister Shirley, I opened my mouth, but my throat felt blocked. I couldn't get out a single coherent word. Seeing me hesitate, seeing the difficulty written all over my face, the light that had just kindled in her eyes went dark. The color drained from her face. So he doesn't want me. Of course. She was already 21, an old maid the whole village looked down on, while her little sister was only 18, young and fresh. Why would he choose her? A wave of grief crashed over her. Her nose stung, and huge tears rolled down her cheeks. She whipped around and started to run, desperate to escape this place where she'd humiliated herself. But before she'd made it 2 steps, I grabbed her wrist. I didn't give her a chance to struggle. With a gentle tug, I pulled her entire body back and firmly into my arms. Ah, she cried out, pressed flush against my chest. My face was inches from hers, my hot breath fanning her cheek. She'd never been this close to a man before. The smell of soap mixed with sweat and the wildness of the mountains hit her like an electric shock, coursing through every limb and leaving her weak all over. Shanha, you don't want to marry me, do you? She whimpered against my chest, her voice thick with tears. Let me go. I only held her tighter, pressing her head into the hollow of my neck. My voice came out low and hoarse. Who said I don't want to marry you? You just sprung this on me out of nowhere. Give my brain a second to catch up, would you? This is marriage we're talking about. I've got to think it through. How much bride price is enough to be worthy of you? When should we hold the wedding? At those words, Shirley made a small sound in her throat. Her face flushed crimson, her whole body tingling as if she'd been shocked. Shanha, don't be like this. She pushed me away, standing there flustered. You really want to marry me? I smiled and took her hand again. If I didn't want to marry you, would I have sent that much pork to your family? The tension in her chest eased a little. She rolled her eyes at me playfully. Tui, so you're just a horn dog, huh? Had your eye on me the whole time. But the words weren't harsh, and she trailed off, half swallowing them. You know what the ancients said, the ospreys call from the sandbar. The gentleman seeks the graceful maiden. You're so beautiful, any man would fall for you. The pickup lines rolled off my tongue. If any woman from the future heard that, she'd cringe at how cheesy it was. But for a girl in this era, it was a killer move. Shirley lowered her head shyly once more, murmuring, So when are you planning to marry me? I straightened up, clasping her hands firmly in mine. Shirley, I don't have much money right now. Can you wait for me until next year? Next year I'll sell those 2 bare gallbladders, hunt some more game, and completely rebuild this old house. Then I'll marry you properly, in style. Getting married in this era was actually easy. A bride price of 3 or 5 yuan was considered generous. Get a letter of introduction from the village chief, get it stamped at the township office, and boom, legally married. But I didn't want it to be that shabby. This was the first time in 2 lifetimes I'd be taking a wife. I didn't want to shortchange her, and I sure as hell didn't want her moving into a drafty shack. Hearing that I'd thought so much of her, even planned out our new home, Shirley's eyes welled up again, hot tears of gratitude spilling over. She was still unmarried at 21. The village gossip had been vicious. Old maid. No one wanted her. Too stuck up for the local boys. But no one knew that she'd had someone in her heart all along. Shauna. She couldn't hold back anymore. She wrapped her arms tightly around my waist, buried her face in my chest, and sobbed. All those years of whispered insults poured out with her scalding tears. There, Shirley, don't cry. I patted her back awkwardly. You'd better get home before your mother worries. Tomorrow I'll go ask Great Auntie to come to your house and propose on my behalf. Hearing that I planned to send the village chief's wife herself as matchmaker, Shirley was moved all over again. There were rules about proposals. The more seriously the man took it, the more respected the matchmaker he chose. In all of Washington, getting the chief's wife to come knocking was the highest honor imaginable. Okay, I'll go home and wait. We lingered together a while longer. Then she left with a heart full of joy, glancing back every few steps. After seeing Shirley off, I let out a long breath. The grin on my face refused to hide itself. Her sudden confession had thrown a wrench in my plans, sure, but it also lifted a huge weight off my chest. Now I felt fired up. Well, looks like it's back to the mountains. Getting married and building a new house both took piles of money. Ever since my last 2 hunts had paid off big, I'd genuinely gotten hooked on hunting. And now, thinking about how I was doing all this for my future with Shirley, the thrill of coming home with a full haul was something no one else could understand. Perfect. Time to see what those dogs 4th Grandpa gave me are really made of. I threw together a quick meal, sliced off a big chunk of yesterday's leftover boar testicle meat, and tossed it to Xiaodian and the 3 new dogs, but I didn't fill their bellies. Before a hunt, you want them hungry and sharp. I checked my Type 38 rifle, pig slaughtering knife, dry rations, and water. Fully geared up, pulling the sledge behind me and leading 4 eager hunting dogs, I headed once more into the deep mountains. This time 4th Grandpa wasn't waiting at the village entrance. I figured yesterday's hunt had really worn him out. The old man was getting on in years. The morning wind was cold on my face, but my heart burned hot. Xiaodian, let's go. Entering the Ileo Mountains, the damp scent of rotting leaves mixed with the fresh tang of pine needles hit my nose, sharpening my senses. Xiaodian, keep looking for wild boar. Let's see if we can bag a few juveniles today. Xiaodian barked excitedly twice and held his big head high, his glossy black nose twitching in the air like the most precise radar. Damao, beside him, was totally different. Head down, nose practically pressed to the ground, carefully sorting through the traces beneath the fallen leaves. one scanning the airwaves, the other tracking the ground. The two dogs complemented each other perfectly. Before long, Xiaotian seemed to catch a definite scent. A low whine rumbled in his throat, and then he shot off like a bolt of black lightning into the deep forest. The two other new dogs stood confused, circling in place, glancing at where Xiaotian had vanished, and then back at me. "You three, just stick with me," I reassured them. Before, when I only had Xiaotian, I had to sprint after him with everything I had, terrified of losing him. But that also meant huge risk. If any beast leaped out from a corner, I wouldn't have time to react. Now, with Damao, an expert nose-down tracker, by my side, I felt much steadier. He was my second pair of eyes, and, at crucial moments, a living alarm. "Come on, let's catch up to Xiaotian." At my command, Damao lowered his head and picked up Xiaotian's scent. His pace was steady, not fast, letting me follow at a controlled clip while staying alert to my surroundings. We hadn't been threading through the forest for even half an hour when a sharp, urgent bark carried on the wind. Xiaotian's. My heart leapt. Damn, that dog's amazing. Found something already. I picked up the pace and hurried toward the sound. But just as I got close enough to see the bushes ahead trembling, Dumao suddenly stopped and clamped his teeth around the leg of my pants. Not hard, but with a stubborn, unshakable insistence, refusing to let go. His body leaned back, dragging me backwards. When a hunting dog does that, it means one thing: there's deadly danger ahead. Every nerve in my body snapped tight. The excitement vanished. Without a moment's hesitation, I swung the Type 38 from my back around to the front, flicked the bolt with a metallic clack to chamber around, and clicked off the safety, all in a single blur of movement. I dropped into a half-crouch behind an old tree, my eyes scanning the surroundings like a hawk. Damao was growling low in his throat, his fur bristling, glaring at a thicket not far away. I immediately trained the barrel of my rifle in that direction. It was eerily still there. Not even a blade of grass rustled. But I trusted Damao without question. Something was in there. A standoff like this was a test of nerve and patience. Any lapse could be fatal. Just then, Xiaotian's urgent barking came again, closer. I saw the thicket start to shake violently, the trembling moving from far away to right in front of me, fast, like something huge was about to burst out. I swallowed hard, my palms sweating, my grip on the cold rifle tight. Suddenly a streak of gold shot out of the thicket like a lightning bolt. A massive leopard. Its rippling spots glittered, but the murder in its eyes was undeniable. In the blink of an eye, it had covered over 10 meters. Its outstretched claws carved a deadly arc through the air as it pounced. My mind went blank. My body reacted on pure instinct. Bang! The crisp report of the rifle shattered the silence of the mountains. The bullet went straight into the leopard's gaping maw and out the back of its skull. The magnificent beast froze mid-air, crashed to the ground, rolled several times, twitched twice, and went still. My legs gave out. I dropped onto my backside, chest heaving, gulping down air. Holy hell, that was close. Another meter, and those gleaming claws would have torn my throat open. I turned to look at Damao, still growling beside me, and patted him with a shaking hand. "Damao? Good boy. Thank you, buddy, seriously." I knew perfectly well. If he hadn't given me that warning in time, I'd have been dead in these woods. Successfully killed an adult leopard. Host reacted quickly, shot with precision. System rating, 68 points. Reward, 7 hunting points. Current remaining hunting points, 16. Staring at the dead leopard, I let out a long breath. My fear slowly gave way to wild elation. A leopard. A whole, perfect leopard pelt. This was the real deal, hard currency. A pelt in good condition could fetch a fortune in the city. And my shot had gone right through its mouth. The whole hide was completely intact. Ha! I'm rich. I'm really rich now. Just as I was excitedly pulling out my skinning knife, that thicket rustled again. I nearly jumped out of my skin, scrambling to raise my rifle again, my heart back in my throat. But nothing came out. After a long pause, Xiaotian strolled leisurely out of the bushes, carrying something small and furry in his mouth. "Huh? Xiaotian, bring it here." Obediently, Xiaotian trotted over and gently set the little creature down at my feet. I looked closer and grinned from ear to ear. It was a leopard cub, so young its eyes hadn't even opened yet. If it had already opened its eyes and imprinted on its mother, I'd probably have had to kill it. But since its eyes were still closed, there was a chance it could be tamed. If I could raise this thing to adulthood and add points to it through the system, its combat power would blow any hunting dog out of the water. Down the road, when I went hunting, I wouldn't have to lift a finger. Juvenile boars, adult boars, whatever. I could just send it out to do the work. Ha ha ha, Shouty on, you're the best. I rubbed his head vigorously. Carefully, I tucked the softly whimpering cub inside my coat, feeling its warm, fragile little body. Then I glanced at the cold, lifeless mother leopard on the ground and sighed. All right, since I've got your kid, we've got a bond now. I won't gut you, but I still need to take your hide. Sorry, I really need the money right now. I picked up my knife and carefully skinned the leopard, rolling the pelt up neatly. The pelt was the most valuable thing on the whole animal. The bones could be used in medicine, but it wasn't worth the trouble. Finally, I dug a small pit and buried the mother. With everything wrapped up, I held the leopard cub close, grinning like a fool. From now on, I'm your master. Gotta give you a name. How about Little Jinbao? No objection? I'll take that as a yes. I couldn't stop smiling. The biggest prize of this trip wasn't the priceless pelt. It was this tiny life in my arms, holding limitless potential. Woof, woof woof. Just as I was basking in the moment, Shoutian barked urgently at my feet, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Before I could react, he'd already whirled around and charged into another patch of bushes. Hey, you crazy dog, slow down. I quickly tucked Jinbao more securely inside my coat and hurried after him. Pushing through the waist-high thicket, the view suddenly opened up. On a small patch of flat grass ahead was a sight that made my breath catch. A herd of sheep, 5 or 6 of them, all brown-colored, with slender tails and gently curving horns, calmly grazing on the dry grass. These weren't ordinary sheep. They were long-tailed gorals. Locals called them green sheep. They were incredibly wary and specialized in leaping around sheer cliffs. Running into them on flat ground like this was a stroke of unbelievable luck. Shoutian quiet. Shoutian was itching to bark, but I shushed him fast. Gorals were extremely alert. The slightest disturbance, and they'd scatter, and they were lightning fast. I quietly aimed my rifle at a smaller goral. It didn't look fully grown. The meat would be incredibly tender. Click. The nearly inaudible sound of the bolt sliding home might as well have been thunder in the silent forest. The moment it clicked, the gorals, which a second earlier were peacefully grazing, all whipped their heads up in perfect unison, their dark eyes wide with alarm, staring straight in my direction. Damn it! The strongest male, the leader, snorted a jet of white breath through his nostrils and bolted for the cliff, taking the herd with him. Before I could even fully line up my shot, the whole herd exploded outward, streaks of brown lightning fleeing in every direction. In a panic, I gave up on picking a target, big, small, whatever. I jerked my arm up, took a rough bead on one of the retreating figures, and pulled the trigger. Bang! The huge report echoed through the valley. Through the smoke, I saw one of the distant gorals topple, rolling twice before going still. Yes, I quickly worked the bolt for a second shot, but by the time I looked up again, the rest of the herd had vanished without a trace. What the hell? They're fast. I couldn't help but marvel. One tiny metallic click could spook a herd from 100 meters away. These wild creatures truly were miracles of nature. Still, my reflexes and aim were sharp enough to nail one from nearly 150 meters out. That kind of shooting was worth being proud of. I ran over and expertly gutted the goral, tossing the heart, liver, and lungs straight to the 4 dogs that came bounding up. No stringing it in a tree this time. 4 hungry mouths would fight for every scrap, so I let them battle it out. I hoisted the dressed goral onto my back. The weight nearly knocked me sideways, but my heart was full. I made it back to where I'd stashed the sledge, loaded up, and pulled it out of the Ileo Mountains. It was around noon when I got back to the village, smoke curling from every chimney, the road empty of people. Saved me from being surrounded and pestered with questions. Back at my ramshackle little yard, I unloaded the goral and got to work skinning and butchering it. Before long, the entire animal was carved into pieces. Finally, mutton for dinner. I'd been craving a hot pot for ages. In those days, mutton was a rarity, way more expensive than pork. Sheep couldn't work the fields, they were costly to raise, so only high-ranking cadres or well-off families could afford them. Shoutian, Keep an eye on Jinbao. Don't let him wander off. I'm heading out for a bit. Be back soon. I settled the sleeping cub into a basket lined with an old cotton coat and gave Xiaotian solemn instructions. Then I grabbed a piece of scrap cloth, carefully rolled up the leopard pelt so nothing showed from the outside, and hurried to Fourth Grandpa's house. Fourth Grandpa, you home? The yard gate creaked open. Fourth Grandpa stepped out holding a chipped bowl full of golden cornmeal porridge. He gave me a sideways look. What? Sniffed out food and came begging at your Fourth Grandpa's door. I chuckled, leaning in mysteriously. Fourth Grandpa, not here to eat. I've got something to show you. He gave a hard sniff, and his brow furrowed. Smells like blood. You went up the mountain again today. That old hunter's nose was still sharp. Haha, can't hide anything from you. Huge haul today. I reached back and bolted his front gate, then pulled him toward the inner room. I set the cloth bundle on the Kong and unwrapped it layer by layer. When that dazzling gold shot, through with black spots, finally came into view, Fourth Grandpa's pupils shrank. Holy shit. A leopard pelt. Clang. He slammed his bowl on the table, porridge splashing everywhere, but he didn't care. In one bound, he was at the Kong, crouched down, hands shaking as he lifted the whole hide up. That golden background with the ink-black rosette spots seemed to glow in the dim room. The pelt was flawless from head to tail. Shanha, don't you tell me you killed a leopard? His voice cracked with excitement, veins bulging in his face as he turned the pelt over and over. Perfect condition, perfectly intact. One shot to the head, not even an extra bullet hole. He drew a sharp breath. This thing goes on the black market, minimum it'll sell for. He held up an open hand, then flipped it once. 100 yuan. 100 yuan. In an era when the average worker made about 30 yuan a month, that was a fortune. 3 full months of a laborer's wages, without eating or drinking a thing. Fourth Grandpa, that's why I came. Take me to the black market tonight. Let's move this hide. Fourth Grandpa mulled it over for a moment, then nodded firmly. All right, leave it to your Fourth Grandpa. 11 o'clock tonight, when it's darkest. Meet me under the old locust tree at the village entrance. Staring at the gorgeous pelt, Fourth Grandpa was overwhelmed. He had to admit it. My hunting talent was like heaven itself was spoon-feeding me. In just a few days of hunting, I hadn't come back empty-handed once, and each haul was more shocking than the last. Today I'd even brought down a leopard. You brat, you're a damn prodigy. He carefully rolled the pelt up and handed it back to me. I grinned. Fourth Grandpa, I also bagged a gorrel. Meat's all dressed and ready. Don't cook tonight. Come to my place for hot pot. What? Are you the reincarnation of the mountain god, or something? Fourth Grandpa was completely floored. I've been hunting my whole life, and I've never even seen a gorrel's shadow. Those things almost never come down from the peaks. You'd have to go deep into the Ileo Mountains to hunt one. And you just got lucky. Yeah, just lucky, I guess. Anyway, I'll leave the pelt here for now. Don't forget dinner at my place tonight. I left Fourth Grandpa's with a spring in my step. Back home, I latched the gate and quietly slipped inside. Little Jinbao was curled up in the corner, whimpering softly. Watching that fuzzy little thing, I frowned. Where the hell am I going to get milk for you? Jinbao was way too small, still nursing, hadn't even grown his teeth. Meat was out of the question, but milk in this era was more precious than meat. Jinbao, you're just going to have to tough it out today. I gently tapped his nose. Tonight, I'm going to the black market. I'll trade for some powdered milk, and I promise I'll fill you up. Raising this little guy was going to cost me a small fortune up front, but it was a long-term investment. Once he was weaned and eating meat, and I used the system to level him up, he could hunt on his own. Someday he'd be my biggest asset. Once Jinbao was settled, I locked up and headed straight to Shioli's house. Shanha, what brings you here? Auntie Sue was sorting vegetables in the yard. Her face lit up when she saw me, surprised and delighted, but curious. Shioli had told her everything yesterday, that I was into her daughter and would be sending the chief's wife over to propose tomorrow. What was I doing here again at midday? Auntie, I bagged a gorrel this morning up in the mountains. You and Shioli come to my place tonight for hot pot. Holy cow. Auntie Sue's vegetables tumbled to the ground. Just yesterday they'd eaten juvenile boar, and the pair of bear paws were already curing per my instructions. She'd been looking forward to feasting on those tomorrow. And now, tonight, it was gorrel. She was so happy her mouth couldn't close, wrinkles crinkling up like a chrysanthemum bloom. She'd never lived this well in all her years. She was more convinced than ever that setting Shioli and me up was the smartest decision she'd ever made. Oh, got it, got it. She slapped her thigh. I've got 2 bottles of aged liquor Shioli's father buried years back. Never had the heart to drink him. I'll bring him over tonight, and we'll have a proper drink. I nodded with a smile, though my eyes couldn't help drifting toward the door. Auntie Sue was no fool. She caught on immediately and clapped her hands, feigning realization. AI, look at me forgetting things. Shanha, you haven't eaten, have you? Come inside, have lunch with us. And she pulled me inside before I could protest. Inside, Shioli and Shiomei were eating. The second Shioli saw me, her lovely face flushed red, and she bashfully lowered her head. Shiomei, on the other hand, saw me and immediately frowned. She let out a loud, cold snort, slapped her chopsticks down on the table, left her meal untouched, stood up, and stalked into the inner room. The air in the room froze. Even the smile on Auntie Sue's face turned brittle. She planted her hands on her hips and yelled at the inner room. Shiomei, am I too damn easy on you? You got the nerve to throw a tantrum at your mother? See if I don't beat some sense into you today. She rolled up her sleeves like she was about to storm in. Auntie, don't get mad, don't get mad. I quickly stopped her. My stomach's growling like crazy. Hurry and get me a bowl of food. The distraction cooled her anger a bit. Before she could respond, Shioli had already stood up, cheeks pink, and murmured softly, I'll get it. A moment later, she came back holding a steaming bowl of coarse-grain porridge. There was a cornmeal bun and some pickled vegetables left on the table. I didn't stand on ceremony, wolfed it all down, wiped my mouth, and grinned. Shioli, I already told your mom, hot pot at my place tonight. But you and Auntie should come over early to help slice the mutton. The words came out so naturally, as if I'd already accepted them as family. Shioli's face went even redder, and she whispered a barely audible, okay. Leaving Shioli's, I hurried over to the village chief's house. No way I was going to leave the old man who treated me like his own grandson out of good news like this. Sure enough, the chief and his wife were even more thunderstruck than fourth grandpa. They gripped my hands, exclaiming over and over that I was the lucky star of the Zhao family. Finally, I headed to cousin Xuanju's house. Between bagging 2 bears, I'd been so caught up in excitement I'd forgotten to send his family some bear meat. Not that it mattered too much. They probably still had leftover boar from last time. Sister-in-law, I called from outside the yard. Qin Yu hurried out from the inner room, a faint smile crossing her face when she saw me. Sister-in-law, don't bother with anything. Bring Xuanju and the kids over to my place tonight. We're having hot pot. Qin Yu's eyes went wide. She was so stunned she couldn't speak for a moment. Shanha, you're really something. Then her expression clouded over, and she shook her head bitterly. The thought means a lot, Shanha, but we can't come. Your cousin, he doesn't want to see people. Ever since Xuanju's leg had been ruined, he'd become withdrawn and hot-tempered, shutting himself in the house day and night, refusing to see outsiders. Sister-in-law, this can't go on. Humans are social creatures. He can't hide from the world forever. My tone grew firm. Don't you worry. I'll handle this. I'll come get him myself tonight. If he won't walk, I'll carry him. Looking into my resolute eyes, Qin Yu's rims went red. In the end, she just nodded with a wry smile. As night fell, my little yard blazed with lantern light and buzzed with voices. Shanha, you can't eat hot pot without sesame paste. Great Annie brought over 2 bottles of the good stuff and set them on the table. This was rare. Maybe only the chief's house in all of Kaashinton kept it on hand. Great Auntie, come sit down. I ushered Great Uncle and Great Auntie to their seats. Shioli and Auntie Sue bustled in the outer room. Fourth Grandpa was teasing the dogs. The whole yard was alive. My heart warmed at the sight. Qin Yu was the last to arrive, pulling a wooden cart with Xuanju riding on the back. When they showed up, the yard fell silent. Shana, Xuanju looked awkward, not wanting to meet anyone's eye. I walked over with a smile and hoisted him onto my back. Cousin, that's more like it. You gotta come out and be with people. Great Auntie pulled Qin Yu aside to chat about family life. Jinglei was tearing around the yard with 3 kids in tow. Watching all of this, Xuanju's dark clouds seemed to lift a little. As the sun was going down, everything was finally ready. The seasonings weren't nearly as varied as they would be decades later, but in this era, where a white flour steamed bun counted as a feast, getting to sit around a bubbling hot pot of mutton was heaven on earth. Every pair of eyes locked on the pot, throats bobbing. Wow, this meat's so tender. I think my tongue just melted. Jinglei was the first to dig in, popping a perfectly cooked slice of mutton into his mouth. It was hotter than he expected, but he wasn't about to spit it out. He hissed through his teeth and mumbled his delight. He'd never tasted mutton in his life. Ha ha, look at that little glutton. Everyone laughed, and the mood grew even livelier. The goral meat had absolutely no gaminess. Tender, clean, wonderful. Dipped in Grey Tandy's rich sesame paste, it was heavenly. Auntie Sue brought out those 2 bottles of aged liquor, and Great Uncle, Fourth Grandpa, and I traded shots back and forth. After a few rounds, the men really loosened up. Several rounds in, when everyone's faces were red with drink and food, Auntie Sue stood up unsteadily, cup in hand, cleared her throat, and looked around the table, her eyes finally settling on me. Everyone, listen up. Shanha said Great Annie was going to come propose tomorrow. She paused, then raised her voice. But you know what they say, no time like the present. Why not do it right now, in front of Big Brother, Fourth Uncle, and everyone here? Let's settle the engagement between Shanha and Shirley tonight. The yard erupted. Sitting farthest from Auntie Sue, Chin Yu went pale in an instant. Her eyes darted to me, and she bit her lip hard. Only later did I figure it out. Auntie Sue had chosen this exact moment to say those words specifically so Chin Yu would hear. The village gossip about Chin Yu and me hadn't escaped her, and she'd seized this opportunity to shut down any lingering hopes Chin Yu shouldn't have been holding. But for all her planning, she hadn't accounted for one thing. Before Chin Yu could react, her own second daughter blew up first. The beast's sixth sense kicked in. A deadly chill shot up its spine to the top of its skull. In the split second, it whipped its head around looking for cover. Bang! Bang! 2 rifle shots cracked out almost on top of each other. The first came from Fourth Grandpa. Somehow he'd already trained his barrel this way, his eyes sharp as a hawk's. Mine followed a hair behind. 2 scorching bullets punched into the Wolf King's body one after the other. One blew the top of its skull off, the other tore straight through its heart. The sheer force lifted the whole beast up and threw it backward. While I yanked the bolt to eject the shell, I whipped my head toward Fourth Grandpa in shock. I never would have guessed that at his age, his reflexes were still that sharp. His timing on the shot was even a hair quicker than mine. That arrogant Wolf King didn't even get out a howl. It let out one low whimper before crashing to the ground hard, its limbs twitching twice before going completely still. The moment the alpha dropped, the whole pack's chain of command collapsed. The rest of the wolves were spooked and jittery, some even exposing themselves. I was ready to squeeze off another round without a second thought, but Fourth Grandpa threw out an arm to stop me. Don't shoot. If they figure they can't get away, they'll come at us with everything they've got. Let him fall back. I nodded, but I never lowered my rifle. About 10 minutes later, Shoutian and Big Cat came trotting back to my side, tails wagging. Only then did we let out a long breath. The pack had cleared out completely. Son of a bitch. What a rush. What a goddamn rush. Fourth Grandpa flopped down on the ground, face flushed and neck bulging as he hollered. Beat the hell out of my war days, ha! I gotta hand it to him. Fourth Grandpa had nerves of steel. That's what you get from a man who came up through gunfire and shrapnel. If I'd been out here alone today, I probably would have left my bones in these woods. You're something else, Fourth Grandpa. You beat me to the trigger today. That praise had him grinning ear to ear. That's 'cause I'm old now. Back when I was young, I ain't blowing smoke here. I could have cleaned out this whole pack all by my lonesome. You believe me? Inwardly, I had to laugh. Up here in the Northeast, the second a man says, I ain't blowing smoke, you know he's about to lay it on thick. But out loud, I still played along. Absolutely, Fourth Grandpa. You've still got it. Old soldiers only get sharper. You should have seen how good that made him feel. On our last few hunts, I'd stolen all his thunder, and as the elder, he'd been reduced to playing sidekick, which stung his pride. Today, he'd finally saved face in front of his grandson. So what do we do with these wolves? I asked. At the mention of wolf meat, Fourth Grandpa curled his lip. Wolves stink to high heaven. Meat's bitter and stringy, tough to choke down, even stewed. Nothing worth eating. Just hack it up and feed it to the dogs. But the pelts and the fangs? Those'll fetch a pretty penny. No time like the present. We both pulled out our hunting knives and started skinning. The sharp blades sliced in, and a heavy stench of blood and musk hit us in the face. We worked fast, scooping out the guts and tossing them to the 4 dogs that had been drooling nearby. Xiaodian and the others pounced immediately, chowing down with blood smeared all over their muzzles, not caring one bit. Whoa, Shanha, come take a look at this. This Wolf King's got some serious years on him. Fourth Grandpa yelped in delight as he worked on the alpha. He used the tip of his knife to pry open its jaws, revealing 2 long, thick fangs, wickedly sharp at the tip and yellowed at the roots, the mark of age. The valuable wolf fangs people talk about are these 2 long canines from the upper jaw. To the rich folks and government types in the city, these things are treasures. Polished up into pendants, they ward off evil and signal status. The longer the fong, the higher the price. Once we were done, I grabbed Xiaodian by the ear, feigning anger. Where the hell did you run off to? You almost got us killed. I gave him a light smack on the head, couldn't bring myself to hit him hard. Xiaodian let out a pitiful whimper and flopped down with his head hanging low, his 2 front paws pressed together, looking exactly like a kid being forced to stand in the corner. All right, quit chewing him out, Fourth Grandpa said, wiping his hands and coming to the dog's defense. The way I see it, Xiaodian must have caught the scent of something good. Otherwise, smart as he is, there's no way he'd charge in like that without a care in the world. That snapped it into focus for me. Right. Xiaodian had been trained up by me. His instincts far surpassed those of an ordinary hunting hound, and he was hypersensitive to danger. For him to act this out of character, to plunge deeper into the mountain despite a pack of wolves, there was only one explanation. He'd caught wind of prey, too tempting to pass up. I crouched down and asked, half-testing, Xiaodian, that prey? Is it still there? Fourth Grandpa cracked up. Have you lost your marbles, boy? However clever he is, he's still just a dog. You think he understands you? But the second those words left his mouth, Xiaodian, who'd been sprawled on the ground, jerked his head up and barked at me twice, tail whipping back and forth, eyes full of expectation. Then in one motion he scrambled up, turned, and bolted toward the deep woods. He'd run a few steps, stop, look back, and circle around, clearly signaling us to follow. Well, I'll be damned. Xiaodian ain't gone and become a spirit, has he? Even Fourth Grandpa was floored. My scalp was tingling too. Could this dog really understand a sentence that complicated? Fourth Grandpa, Xiaodian's onto something for sure. Let's go take a look. Fortune favors the bold. Fourth Grandpa had just come off a brush with death, and the fire in his blood hadn't cooled yet, so of course he wasn't about to say no. All right, today your old grandpa'll run wild with you one more time. The old man and the young man plunged back into the deep forest. After threading through a dense grove, Xiaodian suddenly dropped into a crawl, tail wagging like crazy, but silent as a stone. A few hunts in, and he'd already learned every trick of the trade. Fourth Grandpa and I ducked down fast, and about 300 meters out, there was a big herd of musk deer with their heads down, grazing without a care in the world. Zhangzi is what we call them up in the Northeast. Their proper name is musk deer. That precious musk used in traditional medicine? It comes from these things, and only the males carry it. Fourth Grandpa and I got so excited our breathing turned ragged. This was a jackpot beyond belief. Processed musk went for 5 to 10 yuan a gram. A single musk pod could go for anywhere from 50 to 200 yuan, and that was just the state co-op by price. On the black market, prices tripled at minimum. Beyond that, it came down to quality and the deer's age. Bucks aged 3 to 7 produced the finest musk with the highest medicinal value. Fourth Grandpa, we're rich. This time we're really rich. I counted maybe 20 plus deer in the herd. No wonder Xiaodian had gone charging in like nothing else mattered. He'd stumbled onto a fortune from heaven. Sure, keep it down. Fourth Grandpa clapped a hand over my mouth and dropped his voice, passing along the trick of the trade. See which ones to shoot. You spot the ones with the pair of sharp fangs poking down and out from the mouth, like tiny ivory tusks? Those are the bucks. They've got the musk. I nodded and raised my rifle. The Type 38 Arasaka had an effective range of over 400 meters. We were at 300 now. Any closer, and we'd risk spooking them. I remembered the lesson from hunting the goral last time. These animals had razor-sharp ears. The tiniest sound would send them scattering. We each pick our target. We drop at least 2 of them, got it? Fourth Grandpa whispered. I pulled the bolt back gently and took aim. Bang! Bang! The old man and I fired at the same instant. The herd exploded like startled rabbits, bolting in every direction. The old buck I'd sighted jerked hard, like it had been slammed sideways by an invisible sledgehammer. It hung in the air for a split second, then dropped like a sack with the cord cut. Its hooves twitched twice, and it was done. Fourth Grandpa's buck got hit too, but didn't go down right away. It stumbled forward another 10-odd meters, then its front legs buckled. Letting out a mournful cry, it tumbled into the grass, howling in pain. In that lightning-quick moment, I stopped caring about male or female. Only one thought in my head: get one more. Almost on instinct, I flicked my wrist, swung the muzzle onto the back of a fleeing deer, and pulled the trigger on nothing but a gut feeling. Bang! That third deer went down like it had tripped, face-planting and sliding a long ways before going still. In the blink of an eye, the whole herd had vanished into the deep woods. Ha! Yes, that's my boy. You got him. Fourth Grandpa slapped his thigh so hard, his wrinkles crinkled into a full-blown grin. I let out a long breath. My back was already soaked through. I dropped two on my own. The first, a clean, textbook heart shot. The second, pure luck, but still a one-shot kill. Fourth Grandpa's shot. Well, he was up there in years. Landing a hit at 300 meters was already impressive. He'd just missed the vitals. Shouty-on and Big Cat beat us to it, tearing over and sniffing around the three carcasses. Once they'd confirmed everything was safe, they turned back and gave us a proud pair of barks like they were expecting a reward. Come on, let's go see our treasure. Fourth Grandpa hauled me up. Those old bones of his were suddenly moving like a young man's. Once we got up close, without a word, he put an extra round into the deer that was still crying out, ending its suffering. Then he crouched down, flipped the first one I'd dropped, and broke into a grin from ear to ear. My good boy, look at those fangs. This is an old buck. By the look of him, 6 or 7 years easy. Prime musk-producing age. His rough hands felt around between the deer's navel and groin, and he quickly found a soft, egg-sized bulge. Right here, fat and full. This must pod stuffed to the brim, guaranteed. Fourth Grandpa, check the other two I got. He went over them one by one, checking fangs and feeling bellies. Finally, he slapped his hands together. Both of the ones I'd shot were bucks packing the goods. One was around 5 years old, right in his prime. The one I'd nailed on pure instinct. Fangs even longer, body even bigger. Had to be pushing 10. It was like heaven had chased us down to hand-feed us dinner. Ha! Good boy, you're a real lucky star fallen from the sky. And this Shouty-on, he's a marvel. When we get back, you're gonna reward him proper, hear me? Load him up with meat. Fourth Grandpa kept stroking Shoutyan's head, unable to let go. This was the world of difference a top-tier head-lift scent hound could make. Back when he used to hunt solo, he'd count himself blessed to run into one dumb roe deer. He'd never seen a haul like this in his life. Come on, don't just stand there grinning. Open him up. We wait too long and the guts spoil, and this whole fortune's ruined. I drew my hunting knife and started carefully field dressing the deer. But when I got to that precious musk pod, I froze. No way I was going to fool with something that valuable. Fourth Grandpa, how do we get this pod out? Fourth Grandpa grinned wide, flashing yellow teeth. Watch and learn. Same principle as when my old man taught me to harvest bear gallbladder. All about the delicate touch. He had me lay the deer flat on its back, belly up. Then with a small hunting knife, he cut a circle around the outside of the pod, taking only the skin, never nicking the pod itself. Finally, he peeled off the whole pod, thin outer membrane and all, in one intact piece. Can't cut it, can't leak it. Once it ruptures and the musk seeps out, the grade drops way down, and it's worth next to nothing. Once all 3 pods were out, Fourth Grandpa cradled them in his palm, eyes gleaming. Musk, now that's the good stuff. Just these 3, taken to the black market. He held up 2 fingers, drawing them out slowly. Worth at least this much. 200. I tested. You son of a. You really are selling this musk short. Fourth Grandpa shot me a glare. One of these sold to the state co-op is 200. What I mean is 2,000. 2,000 yuan. I sucked in a sharp breath right there. 3 little squishy pods could turn into 2,000 yuan. Fourth Grandpa, you're not pulling my leg, are you? Fourth Grandpa grinned smugly. Give or take. My mind was racing. If I sold these 3 pods, I'd have all the money I needed to build my red brick house. But then I thought again and pushed the idea down. In these times, if an ordinary peasant family suddenly threw up a red brick house with tile roofing, it stuck out like a sore thumb. Fourth grandpa, let's sell the bare gallbladder to the co-op after all, I said, dropping my voice. The money we make, it's got to have a clean paper trail. I understood the logic. Times were tense right now. Every family was chewing on corn husk buns. If yours suddenly had white rice and wheat noodles every day plus a fresh brick house, some jealous neighbor might just go file a report, and then you were in real trouble. Every coin had to be able to stand up to scrutiny. Fourth grandpa nodded with satisfaction. All right, these 3 musk pods will be enough. As for the rest, the pelts, they all go to the co-op. Truth was, this had been his own lesson to pass on, but I'd figured it out on my own. Come on, fourth grandpa, let's head back. 3 deer worth of meat. That'd feed the uncles who were coming to help build my house for a good 10 days or more. The 2 of us lashed the deer to the sled. I pulled from the front, fourth grandpa pushed from the back, and step by step we made our way toward Kaoshan village. The sled dragged through the mud where the snow had melted, groaning under the friction. My back was hunched, arms and shoulders burning with soreness, but my mind was crystal clear. That's when that familiar mechanical voice piped up in my head again. Congratulations, host, on hunting 1 goral. Rating, 19. Hunt points plus 2. Congratulations, host, on hunting 2 adult gray wolves. Ratings, 21, 23. Hunt points plus 4. Congratulations, host, on hunting 1 adult alpha wolf. Rating, 31. Hunt points plus 3. Current hunt points, 25. That put a spring in my step. When I'd shot the goral a few days back, the system had pinged me, but I was in a rush to get down the mountain and never checked properly. Turns out I'd racked up 25 hunt points without realizing it. Still pulling the sled, I silently asked, "System, can I still upgrade my vision?" Today when I was hunting the deer, once the distance got long it started feeling like a stretch. Affirmative. The normal human vision limit is spotting a moving black dot at 1500 meters and distinguishing a human silhouette between 400 and 700 meters. The system can enhance host vision to clear sight within 800 meters, with maximum visibility up to 2000 meters. That gave me pause. So this system wasn't all-powerful. Even enhancement had a ceiling. I pushed on. What about strength? Is there a cap on that too? Yes. According to recorded history, the human strength limit is exemplified by Xiangyu, who lifted a bronze ding cauldron with both hands, roughly 4 to 500 gene. The system can enhance host strength to 700 gene, which is the currently known peak of the human body. Pulling that heavy sled, I chewed it over. Human strength has limits, and even the system could only push me to the peak of what a human body could do, not one step beyond. So what if I want to break past the human limit? I asked, half-testing. Insufficient authorization. Cannot disclose. I blinked. Authorization? So this system had tiers? How do I raise my authorization? When cumulative hunt points reach 50, the system will upgrade, and host authorization will be raised accordingly. So that's how it works. A flame of interest lit up in me. 25 points, exactly halfway there. Another hard push, and I'd pry open more of this system's secrets. By the time I'd pulled the sled to Kaoshan village, I hadn't even made it into the village proper when a crowd came swarming toward me from under the old scala tree by the village entrance. All aunties and grandmas who'd just come in from working their own vegetable plots and were gathered around gossiping. "Shauna's back. Well, look at that. Got yourself another haul. Good boy, what a fine young man. Come, let Auntie see. What VE you brought back this time?" "Well, I'll be. So this is what a musk deer looks like. Doesn't look like a roe deer at all." The aunties were all talking over each other, craning their necks, spit flying everywhere. Fourth grandpa's face turned dark and he swept his arm out, barking with authority. All right. Break it up. Everybody back to what you were doing." That commanding glare of his made them settle down fast. Fourth grandpa cleared his throat and announced loudly, "Y'all go tell your menfolk something. Shauna's building a new house. Starting tomorrow, anybody who comes to help gets 3 square meals a day, every one of M's solid, dry rations. Lunch is guaranteed to have meat. And when you're done, you take a piece of meat home for the kids. Miss this offer and you'll never see another one like it." Those few sentences hit that group of aunties like a boulder dropping into a still pond. Village house raisings usually meant 2 meals of corn buns and vegetables if you were lucky. 3 solid meals a day, meat at every one, plus meat to take home? Nobody dreamed of a deal that good. Oh my heavens, Shauna's building a house. That's a big deal. Shauna, you got your eye on some girl? Rushing the house so you can get married. One auntie waggled her eyebrows. Shauna, how about my niece? Pretty face, wide hips, made for making babies. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I cupped my hands and begged off. Aunties, thank you all for the concern, but I'm already engaged to Shioli. Once the house is up, we'll have the wedding banquet next spring, and you're all welcome to come raise a glass. With that, terrified they'd swarm me again, I quick pulled the sled forward and, with fourth grandpa covering my flank, made a run for it. Behind us, the gossip fire only burned hotter. Hey, would you look at that? Su Chui really did land herself a golden son-in-law. What can you do? Shauna took a shine to their Shioli. That's that. Word used to be Shioli set her sights high. Dead set on marrying into the city, wouldn't give us country boys the time of day. Still ended up marrying inside the village, didn't she? I paid none of that talk any mind. My head was full of dreams about the new house. But as I pulled the sled around the last corner and reached my own front gate, the smile froze on my face. I blinked hard, rubbed my eyes, but the scene in front of me didn't change one bit. The low, run-down mud brick house that used to stand there had vanished without a trace. In its place was a stretch of ground swept clean and leveled. What the? I stood there dumbstruck, unable to hold back a curse. Where's my whole damn house? I'd only been gone one morning. How was there no house to come home to? All right, quit standing there wailing like it's a funeral. Auntie Sue came walking over with a winnowing basket in her arms, unable to hold back a laugh at the stunned look on my face. This morning your great-grandpa brought a crew over himself. The Zhao clan sent more than 30 strong men. They banged and clanged all morning, tore that shack of yours down clean, and even leveled the ground for you. Many hands make light work. With one word from great-grandpa, nearly every able-bodied man of the Zhao clan had turned out, and by noon my old homestead had been razed flat. I stood there stunned, and it took me a while to come back to myself. Face all screwed up, I asked then. Auntie Sue, where am I supposed to sleep? What are you looking at me for? I don't have room for you. Auntie Sue spread her hands, matter of fact. My whole place is 3 mud brick rooms. Dia and Aria, my 2 girls, share one. Lazy and Xiaoyu, my 2 boys, sleep in another. I've got the third. Where you gonna fit? She looked me up and down, half joking. You're a grown man. Can't very well share a room with an old woman like me. Word gets out, my old face won't have anywhere to hide. Blunt but true. My face burned. Then suddenly a thought hit me and panic crossed my face before I could hide it. Auntie, forget where I'm sleeping for a second. What about the little Jinbao in my room? That was my little golden leopard. I'd gone through hell and back to get my hands on it. And it was still being nursed on the Kong in the back room. God, they hadn't lumped it in with the vermin during the demolition, had they? Oh, that thing. I took it home with me. Auntie Sue waved dismissively. Don't worry. All your clothes and bedding. Anything usable, I brought over to my place. Then she remembered something, and a fond look came over her face. Come to think of it, Shanha, where'd you get that little critter? That kitten you're raising is a real beauty. Solid gold coat with copper coin patterns. In all my years, I've never seen a cat that pretty. My scalp prickled. I coughed awkwardly and leaned in close to her, dropping my voice like I was up to something. Auntie, that's not a cat. That's a baby leopard. Clatter. The basket hit the ground. You're telling me what? She'd never in a million years guessed I'd have the guts to raise a leopard. That was a beast. Once it grew up, wouldn't it eat people? Oh, Auntie, please, keep your voice down. I hurried to explain. The little leopard hasn't even opened its eyes yet. Once it's grown, I'll take it into the mountains with me. It'll help me bring down more game. Come on, get back to my house with me now. Auntie Sue grabbed my arm and dragged me along. The second we stepped through the door, there was Zhao Xiaomei with a bottle in her hand, feeding little Jinbao. Sweet mother of mercy. Aria, put it down right now. Zhao Xiaomei looked confused and frowned. Ma, I'm feeding a cat. What's it to you? Auntie Sue slapped her thigh. That ain't no cat. That's a baby damn leopard. The words baby leopard hit Zhao Xiaomei like a thunderclap on a clear day. Her whole body went stiff, the bottle wobbled in her hand, and she nearly dropped it. Slowly she turned her head. Her rosy cheeks went white as paper, and her voice shook as she looked at me. It's not, is it? Shanha, what you've been raising, that's a kitten, right? I gave a rueful smile, walked over, and gently lifted little Jean Bao out of her stiff arms, murmuring reassurance. It really is a baby leopard. I found it in the mountains. Its mother's already gone. Zhao Xiaomei sucked in a breath and the shock rippled through her whole body. This was a real, live, dangerous animal. Shanha had guts of iron. Just then, the curtain of the outer room lifted, and Zhao Xiuli walked out carrying a plate of food. The moment she saw me, a blush spread across her fair cheeks, and she ducked her head shyly. Shanha, dinner's ready. Come wash your hands and eat. I gave her a warm smile, set little Jean Bao down on the warm Kong, then turned around and pulled the heavy sled into the yard. Auntie, Xiuli, I patted the load on the sled. 3 musk deer here, meat's still fresh. And when I went to the black market the other day, I picked up some cornmeal and white flour. I pointed to the big cuts of venison. Auntie, I'm putting the meat in your hands. Use plenty of seasoning, stew it good and tender, so the uncles and elders coming to help build my house get a proper meal. Auntie Sue looked at the solid, real meat and grain and beamed until her eyes crinkled. Don't you worry. Leave it to me. You'll be pleased. All right, there's cloth too. I dragged out a fresh, rolled-up bolt from under the sled. This is for you, Xioli and Xiomei. Enough for a new outfit each. Auntie Sue stepped up and ran her hand over the cloth. Thick and heavy, it was fine material, hard to come by. In those days, forget new clothes. You couldn't even get a decent length of cloth off your ration coupons at New Year. Her eyes welled up. Good boy. You really are a good boy. Don't waste this fine stuff on my old bones. Wearing my hand-me-downs is fine. Save it for you and Xioli. You two are getting married soon. You need to look sharp. I said straight up, Auntie, that bearskin from last time. Great-grandma is making me a bearskin coat with it. That's what I'll wear on winter hunts. Regular clothes won't cut the cold. You're getting on in years. A thick padded jacket'll keep you warm through the winter, right? Auntie Sue's eyes went even redder. This kid really knew how to look after people. Right then and there she pulled Zhao Xiuli and Zhao Xiomei over, took a deep breath, and said with weight in every word, Shanha, Auntie's got something to say to you. Both my girls have set their hearts on you. Dead set. Won't have anyone else. I've asked them both. Arya says she'd rather be your second than marry another man. Daya's got a gentler nature, but she nodded her head too. Her eyes blazed as she stared at me, laying out each word. Now it's up to you. If you don't mind, just nod your head. Let Arya be your side wife. How about it? I froze on the spot. My mind went white with a buzzing sound, and I swallowed hard on reflex. None of this felt real. Could this even work? Sure, in these days, especially in far-flung mountain villages, the old custom of one man taking more than one wife still popped up now and then. But it was all done in the shadows. Nobody dared put it out in the open. The laws of the new society had banned it flat out. If the officials up top caught wind, a firing squad wasn't out of the question. Then again, our Kaoshan village was so deep in the mountains that the emperor might as well be a myth. It was 2 full days by donkey cart just to reach the county seat. Nobody was going to come poking around here. Before I could even shake off the shock, Zhao Xiomei had gone red in the face. She stepped forward and shouted with everything she had. Zhao Shanha, I, Zhao Xiomei, have set my sights on you for this life. If you marry my sister and leave me out, I'll hang myself from the beam of your new house. Her eyes burned with all-or-nothing resolve. This girl had always been bold and fiery. Only she'd dare shout something that outrageous in front of everyone. But that's exactly what proved how she'd throw everything on the line for me. I looked at her face, wet with tears like pear blossoms after rain, yet unshakably firm. Then I looked at Auntie Sue, who was giving her blessing, and at Zhao Xioli, so bashful she'd nearly buried her face in her chest. The last flicker of hesitation in my heart burned away. If even Auntie was giving the go-ahead, how could I bring myself to refuse? If I broke both these women's hearts, what kind of man would I, Zhao Shanha, be? I drew a deep breath and my eyes went rock solid. Auntie, since you've said so, and Xiomei and Xioli are willing, I, Zhao Shanha, will lay it out right here. With these two by my side, I'll never let them suffer a single grievance as long as I live. Auntie Sue's tears dropped like beads from a broken string, one after another. She kept swiping at them with the back of her hand, but couldn't stop them. Finally, she just pressed a hand over her mouth and choked out, "Auntie believes you. Good boy. You really are a good boy." Zhao Xiaomei was beaming as she grabbed her sister's arm and shook it. Zhao Xiuli's eyes were full of tenderness as she gently patted her mother's back, comforting her without a word. Watching this scene, a warm current flooded through me too, and I said solemnly, "Auntie, my folks passed on early. The elders closest to me in this village are fourth grandpa, great-grandpa, and great-grandma. Tomorrow, I'll have great-grandma herself come over to propose the marriage. Every proper custom. We do it all, no shortcuts." In those days, custom mattered more than the sky. The higher the standing and reputation of the matchmaker, the more it showed the man's side was taking the marriage seriously, which meant the woman's family got that much more standing and pride in the village. I walked out of Xiuli's house with a boulder lifted off my chest. It was already getting late. With nowhere to sleep, I headed straight for fourth grandpa's place. Just as I stepped into the yard, I saw him sitting on the threshold, puffing his pipe, the ember glowing bright, then dim in the evening dark. "I knew you'd come knocking soon as you finished your business. I fixed up the west room for you, fresh bedding and all," fourth grandpa said. He'd clearly caught wind of things and figured I'd come running. Warmth rushed through my chest, and I sidled up to him grinning. "Thanks, fourth grandpa." I set my bundle on the ground and dropped my voice. "By the way, are we still hitting the black market tonight?" Those 3 musk pods were on my mind. They were treasures. Only when they were turned into cold, hard cash in my pocket would my heart truly settle. But fourth grandpa took one deep pull on his pipe, knocked the bowl against his soul, and shook his head. "Grandson, let old grandpa teach you one more lesson. For folks like us, hunters who work these mountains, the biggest taboo is flashing wealth. Remember this, money don't show its face. The black market's crowded with all kinds of eyes. Anyone could take a fancy to you." That was when it clicked. I'd been so hell-bent on cashing in that I'd forgotten the most important rule. Even a whole clan like 8th Uncle Zhao Jianmin's going to the black market 2 days running to sell valuables like that, somebody might have already put a mark on their back. "All right, we'll do it your way. We'll go in a month." Fourth grandpa nodded and went on. "Another thing, from now on, buy your goods at the co-op whenever you can. Anything not too valuable, you can also sell to the co-op. Places like the black market that don't see daylight, stay away as much as you can. Get caught, and it's jail time at best, a bullet at worst." "Got it, fourth grandpa." I'd let the money blind me. Sure, the black market paid crazy high prices, but that cash burned in your hand. Selling to the co-op was different, lower prices, but it could stand up to a check, and you slept easy. From here on out, unless something was truly rare, the co-op would do. Then fourth grandpa, should I go take the wolf pelts, fangs, and bear bones to the co-op right now? Fourth grandpa thought about it. "Keep the bear bones. I know an old Chinese medicine doctor. He can brew some bear bone liquor. The rest, the deer hides and wolf pelts, sell 'em all." I nodded, wrapped everything up in a piece of ragged cloth, and headed for the co-op. The co-ops in those days had attitude sky high. Service? Forget it. There wasn't any such thing. I walked in wearing my dirt country clothes, and before I could even open my mouth, the clerk was scowling. "What I want?" I didn't get sore. That was just the way of the times. "I'm not buying. Just asking, do you all take goods in?" The clerk sized up my look, pegged me as a country hick, and curled her lip. "Nope. Don't take any. Move along." That got my blood up. "You didn't even bother to ask what I was selling before you said no?" No wonder the black market was booming, with attitude like that. "Hold on, comrade. What kind of attitude is that?" My face went cold. "I just asked whether you take goods, like I'd killed your husband or something. What's the deal? Isn't this the age when the people are supposed to be masters of their own house?" That set the clerk off. "You snot-nosed brat. You dare come stir up trouble here? Get lost, right now, or I'll call somebody." I actually burst out laughing. When a person hits peak speechlessness, they really do laugh out loud. "Call somebody? Go ahead. Bring your director out too. Today I'd like to hear exactly what makes this co-op so high and mighty. Who gave you the nerve to tell the people to get lost?" Their shouting got shrill and loud fast, and it soon brought people out from the back. A middle-aged man in a mouse suit came striding out, face dark. What's the commotion? Fighting and hollering like this. What does that look like? This is a co-op, not the village square. Before I could get a word in, the female clerk pointed at me and screeched, "Director, this man came here to make trouble." The director's brow nodded. In this day and age, someone had the guts to come into a co-op and stir up trouble? His look turned unfriendly fast. Watching the two of them play their little duet, my cold smile only deepened. I didn't even bother to look at the clerk anymore. I stared straight at the director and, calm and steady, said, "Comrade, you must be the director." From the moment I walked in until now, I only asked one question: do you take goods? But this comrade clerk didn't even ask what I was selling. She just said no and told me to get lost. So I'd like to ask you, even our top leaders have said this country belongs to the people, and long live the people. What? Here in your co-op, do the rules change? Since when does a clerk get to be greater than the top leaders and order the people out of the people's co-op? I threw down the most powerful magic spell of the era. Sure enough, the moment the words landed, the director's face changed. He looked me up and down with new eyes. This kid looked like an ordinary farmer, but where'd he get that sharp tongue? Clean logic, every sentence swinging a giant political label. No ordinary person could talk like that. He whipped around and glared furiously at the clerk. What the hell's going on? Is what he says true? That roar was like thunder from a clear sky, and the clerk shuddered from head to toe. That haughty face went instantly white as paper. Her lips moved for the longest time, but not a word came out. Beads of cold sweat popped up along her hairline. "Comrade, please, calm down." The director stepped up quickly, a spring-warm smile taking over his face as he smoothly positioned himself between the clerk and me. "The name's Wang, given name Chung. I'll give you a satisfactory answer on this matter, guaranteed. It's not easy coming all this way. Let's talk business first. You came to sell goods, right? Come on, let's have a look." The whole Fen township only had this one co-op. There was no getting around it. Since the man had offered me a way down, I wasn't the kind of hardhead who couldn't let a matter go. I was going to be dealing with this place for years to come. "I've got some wolf pelts and fangs here. Take a look and see if you'll buy them." I unrolled the cloth slowly. Wang Cheng's eyes lit up. He ran his hand over the pelts. "Not bad. Really not bad." One of them didn't even have a bullet hole. He couldn't tear his eyes away. He turned back and shot the clerk a scathing look, then poured on the smiles for me. "Comrade, you're a hunter, aren't you?" "That's right. Problem with that." I owned it. "Long-term business partners. Dodging around only makes you look small." "No problem." "Of course not." Wang Chung waved his hand quickly, but his curiosity had only grown. "It's just, several of these pelts are in beautiful condition. Don't tell me you took them all by yourself." I shook my head, letting a flicker of after-the-fact fear cross my face on cue. "Nah, no way. I went into the mountain with some elders in my family. Bad luck ran us into a wolf pack. It was hell getting out alive. I brought a few down along the way. I kept fourth grandpa's warning in mind. Don't flash the wealth. So I'd left the deer hides at home entirely. Everyone knew the valuable part of a musk deer was the musk. If you sold just the hide and not the musk, who were you selling the musk to? No story I told would hold water. I thought I was playing it low-key, but to Wang Cheng's ears it landed like a thunderbolt. Ran into a wolf pack and walked away in one piece. And took several down in the bargain? Do you know what that means? 3 or 5 veteran hunters together would have to go around a wolf pack, not through it. Young comrade, these wolf pelts and fangs, I'll take them all. Come, let's talk price in my office. I followed him back to the office. He poured me a cup of water, smiles blooming all over his face. Young comrade, truly, heroes are born young. He'd served in the army once and could catch the faint scent of blood on me, along with a subtle killing edge most people wouldn't pick up on. He was certain I'd seen blood. I'd taken down plenty of prey with my own hands. Comrade, weren't we going to talk price? His stare was making me twitchy. Price is easy. For the wolf pelts, I'll go 18 yuan apiece. The fangs, since they're top condition, 2 yuan each. How about it? On the way over, fourth grandpa had given me the going rates. Prime wolf pelts capped out around 18. This director was an honest hand. Maybe because the clerk's attitude had gone so sour, he wasn't trying to lowball me. He wanted to keep me as a supplier. Deal, that's a fair price. I got up to leave, but Wang Chung called me back. He smiled. walked over to shut the door, then sat back down. Don't be in a rush, young comrade. How about we talk a bit of private business? I raised an eyebrow. I had a hunch what was coming, so I didn't play coy. What did you have in mind? I know you're a hunter. Can you get your hands on any big game? Leopards, lynx, wolves, dholes, any of them will do. The price is negotiable. Now I had him figured. This kind of stuff, it's all luck. Might not get one all year. I didn't shut the door on him, just wanted to check if he was what I thought. Wang Chung had been a director long enough to hear the hedge. He gritted his teeth. Young comrade, I'll be straight with you. Some higher-ups have a taste for collecting these kinds of wild beasts. If you can get me one by the end of the month, as long as the price isn't crazy, I'll meet it. Just as I figured. The corner of my mouth ticked up. This guy was greasing the wheels for his superiors. As for why it had to be by month's end, I had a pretty good guess about that too. Director Wong, I can't promise you outright right now. All I can say is I'll do my best. That all right? Wang Qing naturally had no objections. He understood that hunters don't always come back from the mountains with a full haul. Bagging even a single roe deer was considered a good trip. What he wanted was for me to take this seriously. And since I could take down wolves, that meant I had the skills and the guts. Absolutely. I'll be waiting for good news from you. Wang Chung quickly settled the payment with me, counting the money twice to be thorough. For premium wolf pelts at 18 yuan each came to 72. 8 sharp wolf fangs at 2 yuan apiece made 16. 88 yuan total. In these times, that kind of money was a small fortune to any regular household. But when I tucked it into my pocket, I felt hardly a ripple inside. I turned around and browsed the store, spending exactly 8 yuan on a full load of sorghum, cornmeal, and golden millet, a solid 100 pounds of it. For farmers who worried every meal about where the next one was coming from, this was life itself. I didn't let anyone help. I swung that big sack over my shoulder with one hand. 100 pounds felt light as a feather to me. My steps were steady as I carried it out of the supply co-op, past a crowd of stunned villagers staring in disbelief. On the road back to the village, cooking smoke curled up from chimneys and the construction site buzzed with voices. I hauled the grain straight to Shioli's house first and set it down in the corner of the yard with a heavy thud. Su Chui, who was washing rice, turned around and saw me with that huge sack. Her face broke into a wide smile. Auntie, thank you for cooking for everyone these past few days. I clapped the dust off my hands. I was thinking, I can't let you work for nothing. How about 10 yuan a month for your trouble? The words had barely left my mouth when the smile vanished from Su Chui's face. She slammed the rice basin down, sending water splashing everywhere, and pointed her finger right at my nose. Shanha, you little brat, what kind of nonsense is that? I already treat you like my own son-in-law. Whoever heard of asking for money to cook for your own family? You trying to make the whole village talk behind my back, saying Su Chui isn't a decent human being, huh? She was practically spitting as she scolded me, but every word dripped with warmth. I rubbed my nose and could only give a wry smile. Times were poor, sure, but the bond between people back then was real, heart for heart, no fakery. The old saying, a son-in-law counts as half a son, wasn't just empty words. Just then Shioli came out carrying a basin of washed vegetables. She smiled shyly and stepped in to smooth things over. Shanha, that's just how my mom is. There's the 3 of us women here. There's no way we'd let the uncles who came to help work on empty stomachs. I sighed helplessly and nodded. In these times, people wouldn't even take money if you offered it. The plain honesty of ordinary folks warmed my heart. I walked into the yard and played with little Jean Bao for a while. After a bit, Auntie Sue seemed to remember something. She wiped her hands and cheerfully brought out a big clay basin. Inside was a bear paw marinated in various spices. Shanha, look here, this bear paw is just about soaked up the flavor. I'll steam it up for you in a bit. I guarantee it'll be so good you'll swallow your own tongue. Don't just sit around either. Run over to the village chief's place and call him and the others over. Everyone should try this precious stuff together. I laughed and agreed. Bear paw was truly a rare delicacy. Forget the village chief. Even the county chief probably hadn't had the fortune to taste it. After lunch, there wasn't much to do. The men who'd come to help had all gone home for their afternoon rest. I was worn out from the mornings running around, so I just crashed on the bed in Zhao Jinglei's room. I slept like the dead. When I opened my eyes again, only the last sliver of sunset remained outside the window, about to sink behind the western hills. Shanha, you're awake. A gentle, slightly bashful voice sounded by my ear. Still groggy, I turned my head, and there was Zhao Xiaomei, sitting quietly on a small stool by the bed. Her bright eyes were fixed on me without blinking, hiding an affection she couldn't conceal. She was watching me so intently that she hadn't even noticed her own pretty face had flushed a lovely pink, like a ripe apple. Her gaze made me a little self-conscious. I sat up. It's almost dark. I'll go call everyone for dinner. I moved to get out of bed, practically ready to flee. But the moment I stirred, her pale arm reached out and gently blocked me. You don't need to go. I already sent Jinglei to fetch everyone. Zhao Xiaomei clasped my strong arm. In that instant, she felt her heart might leap right out of her throat. It pounded wildly. Instead of letting go, she instinctively pressed closer. At that distance, the unique fragrance of a young woman mixed with her warm body heat drifted into my nose in wisps. I was an 18-year-old man in his prime, blood running hot. How was I supposed to handle my sweetheart pressing against me so provocatively? A wave of heat surged up from my belly and coursed through every limb. Xiaomei, you're playing with fire. My voice suddenly turned husky. I twisted my arm free, pulled her toward me, and pinned her, yelping in surprise, onto the bed. In that dizzying instant, Zhao Xiaomei's heart went completely out of control. Her chest heaved with rapid breathing. Our eyes locked, and with feelings running deep, her gaze softened. She slowly closed her eyes, her long lashes trembling faintly, the picture of a girl surrendering to her lover. I couldn't hold back anymore. I bent down and kissed her. Those soft lips carried a hint of sweetness that shot straight to my head. My blood felt like it was boiling. Then my burning hands started restlessly working at the knot buttons on her collar. No, don't. Shana. At the critical moment, Zhao Xiaomei suddenly came to her senses. She used all her strength to press down on my roaming hand, her voice choked and pleading. Wait till we're married, okay? She hadn't expected me to be so bold, so direct. This was her little brother Jinglei's bed. If we'd been in her own room with the door shut, maybe she would have given in half-heartedly. But right now, her mother and older sister were just a wall away in the outer room, cooking dinner. She could hear every clink of pot and bowl clearly. Her little brother Jingyu was playing in the mud in the yard and could come running in at any moment. Under these circumstances, there was no way she could go all the way with me. Then why the hell were you teasing me just now? I was on fire, about to burst. This little minx was really something. A tormenting little vixen. Seeing my face flushed crimson and eyes practically shooting flames, Zhao Xiaomei felt both sorry for me and afraid. She bit her lower lip, her face so red it looked like blood might drip out. In a voice as small as a mosquito's whine, she said, I'll use my hand, okay? The moment those words left her mouth, my eyes lit up. I leaned down close to her ear and whispered a few explicit words in the lowest voice. The instant she heard them, her whole face turned scarlet in a flash. Even her earlobes were red. Mortified beyond words, she balled up her small fists and pounded them wildly against my solid chest. You, how can you be so bad? You pervert. But her light blows felt like nothing more than tickling to me. I couldn't take her sweet complaints in right now. If I didn't get relief, I was afraid I'd actually explode on the spot. I stood up. Zhao Xiaomei hesitated for a moment. Then, in the end, slowly crouched down as I'd asked. About half an hour later, Zhao Xiaomei stumbled out of the room covering her mouth, rushed like a gust of wind to the water jar in the yard, and scooped up cold water to rinse her mouth over and over. As for me, I strolled out with a satisfied, refreshed look on my face. Zhao Jingyu, playing in the yard, noticed his second sister's strange behavior and tilted his head curiously. Second sis, you that thirsty? He blinked his innocent big eyes. Huh? It's not bedtime yet. Why are you rinsing your mouth? That innocent question from a child made Zhao Xiaomei burn with humiliation and anger. Go play with your own stuff. None of your business, she snapped fiercely. Then in 2 quick strides, she was at my side, reaching out to viciously pinch the soft flesh at my waist. SSSSS. I grimaced from the pinch and drew a sharp breath, but I didn't dare cry out. I could only lower my voice. Crazy woman, weren't you the one who started the fire? At those words, her grip immediately loosened. She knew she was in the wrong. Thinking about the humiliating things she'd just done in the room made her feel like her face might burn right off. This scoundrel, this rotten guy, how did he even come up with tricks like that? The more she thought about it, the angrier and more embarrassed she got. She couldn't help but lean in closer, lower her voice, and demand with a jealous, sour edge. Tell me, have you been sneaking around with some shameless little tramp in the village? Otherwise, how would you know so much? Seeing her both bashful and irritated, I was laughing inside. I immediately raised 3 fingers to the sky and swore with a solemn face. Heaven as my witness. I, Zhao Shana, swear that just now was my very first time. I was like a bride climbing into the sedan chair. My first time, too. I said it with such theatrical seriousness, though the amusement in my eyes couldn't be hidden. Hearing this, half of Zhao Xiaomei's anger dissolved on the spot. But her mouth wouldn't let up. She snorted heavily and muttered with a pout. Yeah, right. I believe you. Smooth talker, never a serious moment. That's what her mouth said, but her burning cheeks and the way she didn't dare meet my eyes betrayed her secret little joy completely. She shot me a sharp glare, one that mixed reproach with unhidden shy delight, then turned and hurried back into the house, as if fleeing. The door curtain snapped shut behind her with a loud smack. I rubbed my nose, feeling every pore on my body radiating contentment. This girl Zhao Xiaomei was like a piece of raw jade, still unpolished, her movements clumsy, but with practice, she'd surely learn to fit me perfectly over time. The thought made my heart feel like it had been dipped in honey. I was still relishing the moment when I heard Zhao Jinglei's boisterous voice from outside the yard. Soon enough, he came back leading a group, great-grandpa with his pipe, kind-faced great-grandma, and fourth grandpa, still full of vigor. Zhao Jinglei was only 16, half a man, but his mind was sharp. Su Chui had already told him all about the business with Zhao Xuanju's family, so he knew better than to invite them over. In his mind, I was already his brother-in-law, set in stone, and he'd be counting on me to take him into the mountains someday to broaden his horizons. Everyone's here. Time to eat. Su Chui called out from the kitchen. She and Xioli, moving like butterflies among flowers, brought dish after steaming dish to the table. When that large black clay basin of braised bear paw was set down, the thick, rich meaty aroma took over the entire room. Everyone at the table, except me, instinctively swallowed hard, their eyes fixed. This was bear paw, something they'd only heard about from storytellers, a rare delicacy that only officials and nobles could afford to enjoy. I didn't have too many expectations. In these times, oil and salt were scarce, and there were only a handful of seasonings. Making meat taste amazing wasn't easy. Great-grandpa, great-grandma, fourth grandpa, you try it first. I served each of the 3 apiece. Great-grandma took the first bite. Her pupils shrank suddenly. Delicious. Truly delicious. At that, no one could hold back anymore. Everyone grabbed a piece. Smiles broke out all around. This bear paw really was that good. The gamey smell was completely gone, leaving only a rich, almost sticky meat aroma, savory and umami with a hint of sweetness. Soft, smooth, quivering, melting in your mouth, coating your tongue and teeth. Even I was a bit surprised. I'd expected this stuff couldn't possibly taste good, but it far exceeded my expectations. Ma, quick, check if my tongue's still there. Zhao Jinglei's sudden clowning had everyone at the table roaring with laughter. Su Chui was equal parts annoyed and amused. She smacked him on the back of the head. You little brat, can't you eat properly? Don't act like you've never seen the world. After all, village chief Zhao Fengyin was here, and though they were all Zhaos, when you got down to it, they weren't quite that close. It's fine, it's fine. Zhao Fengyin waved his hand, not minding at all. Kids should have that liveliness. That's what being young is all about. Watching this group of energetic young people, he felt his own spirit growing younger by a few years. The meal ended with everyone happy, host and guest alike. Full and content, great-grandpa and great-grandma went home satisfied. I walked with fourth grandpa along the small village paths to help our food settle. The evening breeze scattered the day's heat, bringing a welcome coolness. I told him everything about my dealings at the supply co-op that day, from start to finish. After hearing me out, fourth grandpa didn't offer advice directly. Instead, he asked, "What are you thinking?" I pondered for a moment, then spoke slowly. I'll still need to do business with the supply co-op down the road. Wang Cheng's an ambitious man, and he knows how to butter up his superiors. I think this deal, I'll take it. Actually, it wasn't just this consideration. I was also thinking that if I could hook up with Wang Cheng's network, then when he eventually got promoted, he might still have use for my hunting skills. When that happened, I could ride the current and find a way to get Xiuli or Xiumei a job at the co-op as a saleswoman. 18 yuan a month wasn't much, but it was rain or shine steady income, easy work, and most importantly, it was official state employment. That was something to be proud of. Fourth Grandpa nodded approvingly and started walking again. What he admired was that this kid wasn't just strong. He had brains too, knew how to lay groundwork for the future. If you've thought it through and think you can do it, then do it. Fourth Grandpa's tone carried the steady confidence of an old hunter. Just don't make it look too easy. Whatever comes easy, people don't value. You've got to make him understand that these beasts aren't cabbages. They don't just appear on demand. He paused, calculating the days. Best to hold off till the first day of the end of the month before delivering. Let him sweat a little, and let him know you put real effort into this. Fourth Grandpa had absolutely no doubts about whether I could bag the game. This kid had only been into the mountains a few times, and each haul was more frightening than the last. If I couldn't take down a beast, nobody in these parts had any business bragging. Got it, Fourth Grandpa. I'll do as you say. My mind cleared right up. Ginger really was more pungent the older it got. One nudge from Fourth Grandpa, and I immediately saw the trick in it. Early the next morning, I hurried to the supply co-op. With the lesson from last time, the saleswoman's attitude was noticeably better when she saw me. I couldn't be bothered to hold a grudge. I bought a pile of engagement gifts, for packs of pastries, for bottles of loose sorghum liquor, for packs of fruit candies, for bolts of Sherlin cloth, for printed towels, 8 pairs of thick yarn socks, and 4 boxes of snowflake cream. In these times, this was top-of-the-line stuff. Carrying everything, I went to Great-Grandma's house and asked her to make the marriage proposal on my behalf. And so, a spectacle appeared on the dirt roads of Kaoshan village. The village chief's wife, the highly respected Great-Grandma, walked in front, and I followed behind her, my hands loaded with gifts nearly dragging on the ground. Great-Grandma was a plain-spoken woman with a big voice. Every time she met someone, she'd cheerfully shout, "This old lady is going to Auntie Sue's house to propose marriage for our fine village boy, Shanha." She kept it up the whole way, like a walking loudspeaker. The news sprouted wings and flew from house to house. The village women poked their heads out. One look at my haul, and they all clicked their tongues in envy. Good heavens, did he move the whole supply co-op home? That boy Shanha, he really does hold Xiuli in his heart. Some of the nosier ones outright dropped whatever they were doing and trailed behind us from a distance, determined to witness the excitement with their own eyes. Just as we turned into the Su family's alley, we saw Su Chui waiting at the door with her family, craning their necks. All except Xiuli, who by tradition had to wait modestly indoors. "Xiao Cui, this old lady's come to propose marriage on Shauna's behalf." Great-Grandma's voice arrived before she did. Su Chui was over the moon, so excited her face glowed. In all of Kaoshan village, whose proposal ever had this kind of face? Managing to bring out the village chief's wife herself? I'd done this whole thing so grandly, giving her family so much honor. From now on, she could hold her head high when she walked out. "Auntie, Shanha, come in, come in." She was grinning so hard her eyes disappeared as she hurried them inside. The villagers watching outside surged forward, all craning their necks to peek in. Ordinarily, with Su Chui's fiery temper, she'd have chased them off with a broom by now. But this was a marriage proposal, a joyous occasion, and the whole point was the excitement. The door had to stay open, wide open. "Auntie Su, let us see what Shanha brought." All those big and little bundles. Nobody brings this many gifts to a proposal. Shanha really values your family. He's a good kid. The villagers all chattered at once, and the corners of Su Chui's mouth never came down. In all these years, this was the first time she'd tasted what it felt like to be respected, to be envied. Nothing much, just the usual stuff. Her mouth said one thing, but her hands were already deftly unwrapping the gifts I'd brought. As each paper package was opened, everyone stared, dumbstruck. Ordinary folks proposing brought maybe pastries and liquor at most. Candy? That was a rare thing. Some people had never even seen it. And snowflake cream? Who could afford that stuff? And I'd bought 4 boxes. My heavens, hunting really pays this well? He bought all this. Auntie Sue found a son-in-law like Shauna. What luck! Sweet Lord, just this stuff alone could feed my family cornbread for a whole month. Auntie Sue was stunned too. She hadn't expected me to buy something as luxurious as snowflake cream. Shauna, why'd you buy all this? This isn't how you make a life last. Don't do this again in the future. Her words said one thing, but the corners of her mouth simply wouldn't stay down. Auntie, these things aren't worth much money, I said with a smile. Surely is worth it. At those words, everyone present let out a chorus of cheers and teasing. Shioli, hiding indoors, blushed bright red. This man of hers, how could he say something so mushy in front of everyone? Yet inside, she felt warm all the way through. If it weren't for all the people outside, she really would have come out and kissed me. All right, everyone's seen what they came to see. Now clear on out. Great-grandma spoke up. Next they'd have to discuss the bride price and wedding date. Though it was only going through the motions, that kind of private matter wasn't for outsiders' ears. That was the rule. When people saw the village chief's wife had spoken, they dispersed. Once most everyone was gone, I pulled a gold ring out of my pocket. I'd carved off a piece from that gold nugget last time and had it made into this. Time had been short, so I'd only had fourth grandpa shape it into a smooth band. Wait, is that gold? Great-grandma and Auntie Sue were both staring wide-eyed. Great-grandma had seen the world. There was a gold ring in her family too, only they weren't allowed to wear them these days, so it was hidden away. But she'd never dreamed I'd have something like this. Shioli was called out from the inner room. I handed her the ring. Shioli, this ring is one I had made specially for you. There wasn't time to add a pattern. Later on, I'll definitely get you a prettier one. Shioli couldn't hold back anymore. She threw herself right into my arms. Great-grandma and Auntie Sue looked on with satisfaction. These two kids really were made for each other. Ahem. All right, once you're married, you'll have plenty of time to cuddle. Seeing us wrapped together and not letting go, Auntie Sue quickly spoke up. Only then did Shioli bashfully pull back from my embrace. Great-grandma and Su Chui went into the inner room to discuss the wedding date. Meanwhile, Zhao Xiaomei stood there looking unhappy. As my little wife, she wasn't entitled to any of this. I'd thought she wouldn't care, but who knew I'd make such a big fuss over her sister? What's up? Not happy? I sidled up to her, teasing. Zhao Xiaomei pouted, almost on the verge of tears. Then, like a magician, I pulled out another gold ring. I bought 4 of everything. 2 for you and 2 for your sister. How could I forget you with the ring? Zhao Xiaomei's eyes reddened instantly. Without a second thought, she threw her arms around me and planted a sweet kiss on me. Watching her little sister's boldness, Shioli quickly stopped her. Enough. Great-grandma is still in the inner room. Be careful. This, little wife, business had to stay under wraps. Every bit of Zhao Xiaomei's disappointment was swept away. As for titles and face, none of that mattered. As long as I held her in my heart, that was enough. Shanha, my sister, and I will serve you well from now on. At those words, Shioli blushed and shot her sister a reproachful look. You little thing, what kind of nonsense are you saying? She just didn't have her sister's boldness. She could never bring herself to say something like that. But I quite enjoyed it. I really did like Zhao Xiaomei's personality. Our wedding date was set for May 1st of the following year. The elder in the village most skilled at picking auspicious dates had chosen it. A lucky day, favorable for marriages, promising prosperity. Auntie Sue and Great-grandma were both grinning ear to ear, as if they could already see the young couple's bright future. Coming out of Shioli's bustling, cheerful house, the sky was tinged with orange. Facing the evening breeze, my heart was warm and my step light as I headed straight for Brother Xuanju's place. This was such big news. I had to tell him in person. Before I even reached the yard, I saw my sister-in-law Qin Yu with a big broom, half-heartedly sweeping fallen leaves. The autumn wind would sweep them up, and the pile she'd just gathered would scatter again, but she didn't seem to notice. She was clearly somewhere else in her mind. News that I'd asked the village chief's wife to propose had already flown across the entirety of Kaoshan village on invisible wings. She'd heard, of course. This should have been happy news, but the joy just couldn't reach her heart. Instead, it sat like a stone, heavy and sinking, pressing down until she could barely breathe. Sister-in-law, My clear greeting was like a pebble tossed into the still pond of her heart. Chin Yu's body jolted, her grip on the broom tightening. For an instant, she thought her overwrought mind had produced a hallucination. All these days, my image had been turning over and over in her mind. Now she was even hearing my voice. She stiffly turned her head, and there was my face, made even more handsome by the evening light. Shanha, you're here. Her voice was dry. She managed a smile that looked worse than crying. I strode into the yard, not noticing anything off about her mood. I reached into my pocket and pulled out 2 packets of wedding candies wrapped in red paper, pushing them into her arms without giving her a chance to refuse. Sister-in-law, take these for good luck. Shioli and I are engaged. I came to tell Brother Xuanju. That splash of red on the candy wrappers stung her eyes. Last time when they'd shared hot pot together, Su Chui had already spilled the beans excitedly. She should have been mentally prepared. But when the words came out of my mouth for real, all that carefully prepared strength crumbled in an instant. Her heart was like an overturned bottle of every flavor. I didn't think twice. I lifted the door curtain and stepped into the room. The inner room was dim. Brother Xuanju lay on the bed with his eyes open, staring blankly at the ceiling beam. Brother, hearing my voice, Brother Xuanju's eyes lit up instantly. He struggled to sit up. Don't move, lie back. I strode over in 2 steps and pressed him down. I just came to tell you something. I'll be leaving right away. I pulled up a stool and sat down, unable to hide the joy on my face. Today, Shioli and I got engaged. The date's set too. May 1st next year, we're getting married. Brother Xuanju was stunned for a moment, and then a genuine smile spread across his face. The joy was real, from the bottom of his heart. To him, I was already like his own younger brother. Good. That's great, Shanha. Once you're married, you'll be a real grown man. But as soon as the words left his mouth, the smile on his face faded into a bitter grin. He'd remembered his own ridiculous idea, still hoping his wife could go to me as a second partner. Now it seemed that thought had been nothing but flowers in a mirror, moon in the water. Completely shattered. Brother, get some rest. I've got other things to do. I'll head out. I stood up. Brother Xuanju opened his mouth, his throat blocked as if stuffed with cotton. He had so much to say, and yet couldn't get out a single word. In the end, it all became one long sigh that dispersed into the dim room. Coming out of the inner room, Chin Yu was still standing there in the yard like a statue, gripping those 2 packets of wedding candy, her face pale. Sister-in-law, I'll be going. I waved to her with a smile. Come drink our wedding toast next spring. Chin Yu finally snapped out of it. Her eyes met mine in a panic, and she gave a numb nod. Watching my tall, straight back disappear at the mouth of the alley, she slowly let go of the broom she'd been gripping and let it fall to the ground. She sighed again helplessly, and finally her eyes turned red. She asked herself honestly. She wasn't a fickle woman. If Brother Xuanju, in his despair, hadn't told her to go find me as a second partner, she never would have had those wrong-headed thoughts. That night, with the moonlight like flowing water, she'd summoned all the courage of her life. She'd nearly gone all the way with me, but in the end, I'd refused her. Thinking about it now, of course, I was so remarkable. Why would I ever want her? I deserved a fine young woman like Shioli. The next 10 days flew by, busy and full. During the day, I helped the villagers build the house. Amid the ringing of hammers on wood, the outline of the new house grew clearer with each passing day. In the evenings, I'd shoulder my hunting rifle and go into the mountains, but only skirting the outer edges of Ileo Mountain, hunting small game like roe deer and yellow weasels. It supplemented the household and kept my skills sharp. Finally, the day came for the roof-raising ceremony. Early in the morning, a large truck rumbled into the village. My second uncle Zhao Early I rode along personally, delivering the last batch of premium lumber. Second uncle. I was working up on the frame. Seeing him arrive, I called out in delight and clambered down nimbly. Second uncle worked at the forestry station year-round and could barely make it home more than a few times a year. In his mind, I was still the half-grown boy from a few years back. When he heard my greeting and looked at this young man standing a full head taller than him, he actually couldn't process it for a moment. You're Shanha? I smiled and nodded, flashing a row of white teeth. Yeah, second uncle. It's me, Shanha. Io. Second uncle slapped his forehead and burst out laughing, stepping forward to clap me hard on the shoulder. Good boy. How many years has it been? You've shot up tall as bamboo. Your second uncle almost didn't recognize you. Uncle and nephew chatted warmly for a while, and then second uncle directed the forestry workers to unload the truck. Second uncle, thank you so much. Looking at those thick, straight logs, I was full of gratitude. It's just a small thing, my building a house. I can't believe you came personally. Though second uncle was the forestry station's party secretary, he had none of the airs of an official. He was open and generous. Ah, we're family. Why so polite with your second uncle? As he spoke, he kept sizing me up. He'd heard plenty about the big things I'd been doing in Kaoshan village recently. Most of the forestry station workers were from Kaoshan, after all. My name was ringing loud these days. It was impossible not to know. Once the workers had finished unloading the lumber, second uncle suddenly pulled me aside, his expression turning serious. By the way, Shanha, I've got a bit of a bind. I want to ask you a favor. At those words, my eyes lit up. I knew my strength was this set of hunting skills. Second uncle, as the forestry station's party secretary, coming to me specifically, 9 times out of 10, this had to do with hunting. Second uncle, name it. As long as I can pull it off, I won't refuse. I patted my chest, my words firm. Recently, there's a leader whose birthday is coming up. He paused, seemingly choosing his words carefully. His expression grew serious. This man, he doesn't have other hobbies. He likes novel things, especially the fierce beasts from the mountains. He raised his eyes and looked at me pointedly. I was thinking, you're a capable young man. Could you help your second uncle go into the mountains and bring back a beast? If you could get a black bear, that'd be perfect. My heart skipped. I immediately caught on and thought to myself, this leader's second uncle wants to gift. It couldn't be the same person Director Wong from the supply co-op mentioned, could it? Director Wong didn't know my capabilities, so he'd only dared ask for jackals, wolves, or lynxes. But second uncle was different. He knew clearly that I'd already legitimately hunted 2 black bears. So naturally his appetite was bigger. I didn't let anything show on my face. Instead, I furrowed my brow and let out a heavy sigh, pretending to be troubled. Second uncle, I can't guarantee this one. You know how it is. When we hunters go into the mountains, we're at the mercy of the mountain gods. It's all luck. It's not like you can walk in and find whatever you want. Those deep forests don't run on any schedule. Second uncle smiled. He'd clearly expected me to say this. He waved his hand. It's fine, just do your best. Second uncle understands the rules. Whether it works out or not, there'll be something in it for you. My eyes rolled, and the wheels in my head were already spinning fast. I changed my tone and said mysteriously, Second uncle, actually, it's not completely impossible. As long as I can go deep into Ileo Mountain, forget just a black bear. I might even run into the mountain's real big claws. Those truly massive creatures lived in the deepest, most untouched forests. They rarely wandered to the outskirts. Oh, second uncle's eyes brightened with interest, but then he shook his head like a rattle drum, refusing over and over. No way, absolutely not. Too dangerous. His face showed real fear. If something happened to you in there, wouldn't my old man break my legs with his own hands? In recent days, his parents had been singing my praises to him constantly, saying this nephew was sensible and capable, better than his own sons. They were charmed and delighted by me. I grinned and moved closer, letting a bit of youthful cunning show. Second uncle, you doubt my skills? The main problem is, this weapon in my hands isn't up to it. I patted the old Type 38 rifle and looked at him meaningfully. Doesn't your forestry station have those Type 56 semi-autos for the rangers? That's the real deal. If you could lend me one. I drew out my words, then finally slapped my thigh decisively. I guarantee, within 3 days, I'll bring you back a black bear. Second uncle's first instinct was to refuse. The Type 56 semi-automatic rifle was under very strict control these days. It was a new weapon the army had only been issued a couple of years back. Precious stuff. But on second thought, I was just borrowing. I'd have to return it after use. Not like I was going to keep it. And if this deal worked out, second uncle's mind started stirring. He really was tempted. In these times, who didn't dream of climbing another rung on the ladder? If I really bagged a black bear and he presented it to that leader, and that leader was pleased, there was a chance he might get promoted. And all he had to pay was lend me a gun for 3 days. This deal was a guaranteed win no matter how you looked at it. He steadied himself and spoke seriously. Shanha, I can find a way to lend you the Type 56, but there's one condition you have to agree to. You cannot go into the deep mountains alone. Second uncle, don't you worry one bit. I promised immediately. When the time comes, I'll bring Uncle Jangwo and fourth grandpa along. With them backing me up, nothing can go wrong. Fourth grandpa was Kaoshan village's most seasoned hunter, and Uncle Jangwo used to go hunting with fourth grandpa often. His skills were solid. With fourth uncle along, then okay. Second uncle finally set his mind at ease. All right, we'll settle it like this. Once the lumber's unloaded, ride back to the station with us. I'll take you to get the gun. Then second uncle suddenly remembered something and added in a hushed, sneaky tone. Oh, and one more thing. Don't you dare mention this to your great-grandpa or great-grandma. Not a single word. Otherwise those two will team up and beat me half to death. In the Northeast, no matter how old you are or how big your title, when mom and dad decide it's time for a whooping, you're getting hooped, no exceptions. I bit back a laugh and quickly stood at attention. Second uncle, don't worry. I know how to keep my mouth shut. I know what to say and what to leave out. Second uncle patted my shoulder with satisfaction, feeling more and more that this kid was likable. No wonder his parents raved about him. He really did know how to talk and get things done. Once the lumber was unloaded, the sky was gradually darkening. I climbed onto that army green Jiefeng truck and headed back to the forestry station with second uncle. The dirt roads of that era were full of potholes. When the Jiefeng got going, the truck shook like a sieve. Every bump lifted your insides up. I nearly threw up last night's dinner on the way. After getting out, I had to lean against the truck door for a good while to press down that churning feeling. Huh, you still get carsick? Second uncle laughed at my pale face. I rolled my eyes hard. What did this have to do with carsickness? A road this bad and a truck this bad. Whoever rode it would get sick. Even an immortal would throw up. Second uncle led me to his office and told his people to fetch a Type 56 from the armory. Before long, I had the treasure I'd been longing for in my hands. The Type 56 semi-automatic rifle used 7.62 millimeters ammunition, 10 rounds in a full magazine. Its greatest strength was that it was light, accurate, and had sustained firepower. Not like that ancient Type 38 where you had to yank the bolt after every shot. By the time you were ready, your dinner was cold. With this gun, once you chambered a round, you just kept your finger moving and could fire off all 10 rounds in one breath. The gap between shots was dramatically shorter. For a hunter like me, this thing was basically a slaughter tool made to order. I could almost guarantee that when I'd been hunting that herd of blue sheep and river deer, if I'd had a Type 56 in my hands, the take would have at least doubled. Once I had the gun, I really couldn't put it down. My palm ran over the cold barrel and the warm wooden stock. Second uncle, this gun, it's too damn cool.